Good evening. We're going to get started. I will now reconvene the special council meeting. Closed session. City Attorney Funk, will you please report the closed session action?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and members of the public. In tonight's closed session, the City Council addressed each item appearing on the closed session agenda. No reportable action resulted from tonight's proceedings. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay, so the adjournment time for the for the closed session is 6:43. The special city council meeting is now adjourned. Now we will move on to our regular city council meeting. Before we begin the regular city council meeting open session, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during the public comment session must obtain a number card from the city clerk or staff in the back. If you did not receive a card and you would like to get one, please proceed to the back. All speakers should remain in their seat until their number is called, and the time clock will begin when you begin your comments. For the city's council's meeting rules and for fire safety regulations, all persons should remain seated unless addressing the council or entering or leaving the chambers. So it's prohibited for you to stand in the aisles. We don't need overflow seating, but there are some seats available if anyone wishes to sit outside. I will now call the regular city council meeting to order. This is our open session, and the time is 6:45 p.m. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Frometa.
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Present.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sosa.
Present.
And Mayor Trujillo.
Here. And now for the invocation, we would like to welcome back Tanya Lopez, pastor for Downey Memorial Church. Please stand and remain standing for the flag salute after the invocation.
Good evening. Let us join our hearts in prayer. God of wisdom and immeasurable love, we come before you in gratitude and in a spirit of unity. We thank you for the blessing of being gathered here tonight. Each one of us brings our unique experiences, our perspectives, our ideas, our passions and concerns, and our energy to the work that we do. You have given each of us gifts and abilities that we know, when activated and shared generously, have the power to generate positive change and transformation. And so we thank you for all the gifts gathered here tonight. We thank you for all those that have said yes to these roles of public service as members of the City Council, for those that have agreed to serve alongside them as members of staff or committees or teams. We know it takes many hands and many hearts to serve our neighbors. And so we thank you, too, for the greater network of partnerships and collaborations that are made up of businesses and nonprofit leaders and organizations, educators and first responders, communities of faith, and engaged citizens of all ages. Strengthen our relationships with one another and continue to guide our shared work. Help us to remember that what binds us together is greater than what sets us apart. And remind us when we stray to serve with humility and to listen with open hearts. Be present in the work that is slated to be done tonight, and may all that we do together, beyond the scope of this meeting, help to promote a better tomorrow for all those who call Downey their home. Amen.
Tanya Lopez. And now to lead us in our flag salute, we welcome Boy Scout Troop 441. Please come forward.
Audience, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Boy Scout Troop 441. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you. Now is the time for City Council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, and conference meeting reports. We'll start with Councilwoman Dorothy Pemberton.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Trujillo. November, what is the month of November? In 1990, welcome everyone, thank you for coming. In 1990, President Bush designated November to be National Native American Heritage Month, which celebrates the contributions of Native Americans. But it also raises awareness of the challenges Indigenous people have faced. Veterans Day was November 11th. We honor and remember our veterans of all wars. The freedoms that we enjoy came at a price. Many soldiers lost their lives. Many survived with PTSD. Some are still MIA, missing in action, and still some today of our veterans face challenges of reintegrating into civilian life and finding jobs, housing, and mental health support. One organization that is helping veterans is Veterans Stand Together. Last Sunday, they put on their annual Marine birthday celebration, which we all attended, on Downey Avenue. It was for all veterans and families. We thank them for their outreach in helping all our veterans. And I'd just like to say that if you know a veteran that could use some of these services, please look them up at www.usavest.org. I'd like to also thank to Bastards for their support and help with our veterans as well. I'd also like to thank Lee Squire for his service as an Army veteran, Army Vietnam era veteran from 1967 to 1970, one of our residents. Thank you, Lee. And also Brian Heyman, he is an Air Force veteran as well. We have local attendance of them. We attended some of us attended, my council colleague Ortiz and I attended the Southern California Gas Hydrogen House. It's an excellent option to clean energy. It's located at the Southern California Gas building across from Stonewood. Many don't know it's there. I attended a fundraiser, WCCS, for a women's shelter that serves domestic abuse victims, and they're located in Whittier. The Downey Warren football game we all attended. That was a few weeks ago. I won't say who won. Someone else can do that. There was the Dia de los Muertos Heritage Festival, the Downey Theater. I attended the Pumpkin Patch at the Downey Adult School. It was huge. Thank you, Jason Chacon and his staff, along with Parks and Rec and with Public Works. It's always really nice to have it over there at the Downey Adult School. It's nice and safe. And our fire department was out there with their equipment, along with our police department as well. I attended the first Veterans Appreciation Awards in La Mirada, hosted by Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco. 8 veterans were recognized, and a Downey business owner and veteran, Moises Rios, was given the 2024 Veteran Appreciation Award. So a shout out to his business, which is Lewis's Butcher Shop on Imperial Highway. And please support not only Downey businesses, but veteran-owned businesses. Moises has volunteered in many Downey events, including Gangs Out of Downey. Everybody was cooking those hot dogs, right? We attended the Kiwanis 100-year centennial celebration with all of us here. There was the Employee Service Awards for employees with 5, 10, 20, 25 years of employment. And that really speaks volumes. We thank all the employees for being with us and giving what they can. The city put on a memorable moving veteran ceremony. I'll leave that for some others. And I have some save the dates. December 9th, 6 p.m. is a Santa caravan. So if you contact Public Works or go on the website, you'll see the route Santa will take on the 9th. And on December 16th is going to be the second pass of Santa's caravan. That's always fun when we get to ride with Santa and wave to all our residents. You can also sponsor a wreath for $17 to be placed on a veteran's grave at the Downey Cemetery next month. Contact Parks and Rec for purchasing a wreath and supporting that. We have a tree lighting ceremony on December 2nd at City Hall, 6 to 8:30. Maybe next year we'll have a mobile outdoor skating rink or something, but it's a great job with all the snow coming in. You'll love it. And just as a follow-up, a lot of residents have come to me requesting stop signs on certain areas to slow down traffic. And in also speaking with our staff, there's a state code, there's traffic standards that we have to abide by. So we will look into some of the areas that's requested, but at the same time, we are limited sometimes on doing what might need to be done. But we will invest all of that. And thank you, the police department, Chief Lochner, for continuing to keep radar on Old River School Raceway, and I'd like you to continue to do that. Thank you.
Does that conclude? Thank you. Councilmember Ortiz.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to keep my comments short. I know we have a very eventful meeting today, but I do have one save the date, December 6th. We're opening up our Sprouts. So if you want to come in to Downey Landing at 6:30 a.m., we'll be doing a little ribbon cutting, so I'm excited for that. I do have 2 asks for staff. I'm requesting we could do a survey on Golden Avenue to see if we need some speed bumps or some stop signs between Downey Avenue and Blodgett Avenue. I know my colleague said that we're limited, but I just want to make sure we can do that in that area. And also, there's been some RVs popping up in Cleta around the Coca-Cola factory. I want to see if we can send out staff in that area. And with that, I conclude my comments for today.
Thank you. Councilwoman Frometa.
Thank you for that, Mayor Trujillo. Good evening and welcome to your City Council meeting. Welcome to those that are also watching us on YouTube. I want to recognize a few of you. I know there's going to be a lot of recognitions slated for this evening, but I want to recognize my Planning Commissioner, Carrie Uva, who is in the audience. Thank you for joining us. I also want to recognize, of course, Reggie Donohue with the Rose Float Association, and a big congratulations to my dear friend and newest elected school board member, Gigi Perez-Saab. Thank you for joining us tonight, as well as Nancy Swenson, also school board member. Thank you for joining us. John Lacey, past chamber president and longtime Rotarian. Thank you for being here, John, as well as Greg Welch. Thank you for being here. And I see the executive, the former president of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for being here. As I always say, engaged communities are strong communities. I want to thank our residents for their resounding yes vote on Measure D. This will greatly benefit our police and fire departments, their response, and our safety measures for our community. We will begin to see the financial impact on this the first quarter of next year, and I want to again say thank you for the residents for passing this measure. It is much needed for our officers, and I also want to take this opportunity. I know Councilmember Pemberton, you almost took all of our comments in one.
Keep more elaborate.
Yes. But I also want to take this opportunity to recognize our veterans and their families in our audience. Do we have any veterans here tonight with us, aside from Lee Squire? Would you please stand? City Manager Bradley. Thank you for your sacrifice and for your service to our great country. Several weeks ago, I had the opportunity to visit Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C., where, as you know, approximately 400,000 soldiers and their dependents are buried. That was a very moving experience. And I also witnessed the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is guarded 24/7, 365. Rain, shine, snow, sleet. And again, we pay tribute to the men and women from all armed forces that have served our country, as well as their families that paid the ultimate sacrifice. This is really the freedoms that we are able to enjoy are because of you. Thank you. As was mentioned, we had our annual Veterans Ceremony yesterday. Thank you to the staff for working the event. Also, thank you to my entire council for attending the Marines' 249th birthday and veteran celebration on Sunday evening. This event has been annually organized by Bastards and Veterans Stand Together, and a few thousand veterans attended the festivities. Most of us also attended the Downey Kiwanis Centennial celebration last week, and I want to express my thanks and appreciation to the staff, Public Works, Parks and Recreation, for all of their efforts and hard work. We had a very busy, it seems like we're always busy, but we are particularly busy during this time of the year with Pumpkin Patch, Dia de los Muertos, and many other celebrations. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And as a reminder, we will be dark the week of Thanksgiving in observance of Thanksgiving. So there will not be a council meeting. Tonight's council meeting will be the only council meeting for the month of November. I want to encourage you, those of you present here, but also those of you watching us, that it is important to look at our website and monitor the City of Downey social media handles on Facebook and Instagram for upcoming events. As was mentioned by my council colleagues, there are several events. It is hard to believe we're just a few weeks away from saying goodbye to 2024. And the 36th Annual Downey Mayor's Breakfast, Prayer Breakfast, is happening this Thursday at the Rio Hondo Event Center. And again, for the last 35 years, non-denominational churches have come together to put this event and to pray for their local leaders. And so we are looking forward to it, and we invite you there. The Citizens Academy through the Downey Police Department begins again November 20th next week. I don't know if there's any additional signups available, but I know this is a 10-week, 9-week course. Chief, would you remind me?
It's a 10-week course, but this is actually the graduation.
Oh, the graduation. Never mind. We will let the public know when they can sign up. Last but certainly not least, we have 2 lighting ceremonies that we want to make you aware of. The first one is December 2nd. That will be our tree lighting here at City Hall at our Civic Center. And that is also the Holiday Home Awards ceremony. And then on Saturday, December 7th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., the Apollo lighting capsule at the Columbia Memorial Space Center. That will be happening. Again, 5:30 p.m., tree lighting ceremony. You all invited. Please join us. Just a couple of things. We will reconvene in December after tonight's meeting, but a couple of things for staff. Code enforcement, please and thank you. Increase your attention and vigilance on junky cars that are in the middle of the street or parked on streets and or lawns. Also unkept yards and unkept businesses. Sometimes our strip malls can have overgrown vegetation and trash and debris, and we really need to make sure that our the business owners or management companies are fully aware and they maintain their properties. Also, as my council colleague Pemberton mentioned, additional patrols throughout our city. Speed throughout our thoroughfares continues to be a concern and a significant issue, and just wanting to ask for an increase in monitoring with motor officers in our major thoroughfares. That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Councilwoman from Meta. Mayor Pro Tem Sosa.
Thank you, Mayor Trujillo. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see a full house tonight. I will keep my comments brief. We do have a quite a full agenda today. There's one event coming up that Fermetta and Pemberton happened to miss. It's the Downey Christmas Parade. They covered everything else, right?
We were saving it for you, Sosa.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for saving one for me. Downey Christmas Parade, which the Chamber of Commerce does a great job of holding. That's going to be Sunday, December 1st. And I believe that starts at, is it 1 p.m.? 1?
1.
Yeah, okay, something like that. That's always a very successful event. So, also, I just want to, again, I want to keep my comments short, but I just want to acknowledge code enforcement and Public Works for just swift action they took last week. In the southwest portion of Downey, there's a neighborhood where there's been a nuisance that the neighbors or the community there has been dealing with, and there was a lot of stuff left behind a few days ago, and code enforcement along with Public Works took some swift action in cleaning the whole thing up. So I'd like to give a special shout out to Rudy Monroy, Irma Wheatron, Matt Baumgartner, and their teams for doing such a great job. These are, we always praise, rightfully so, we always praise police and fire, but code enforcement and public works are kind of the unsung heroes behind the scenes. So I'd like to take this moment to really give them a special round of applause. God bless our military veterans. That'll conclude my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Well, I want to congratulate Horacio Ortiz and Dorothy Pemberton on their resounding re-elections. And I want to thank the city of Downey for re-electing me as well. Overwhelmingly, I like to say that, it's so easy for us to take credit for each other's work, but let me tell you, you have a very hardworking council. Public safety is our #1 priority. Most of our budget, a good 60%, is where you want to be as a city for this size. So I want to thank this council for all the work we've done together. I think the voters have spoken, and we are a united council when it comes to most of the issues. You know that we vote as a unit. So I do want to recognize the stability of this council. It has been a pleasure for me personally to serve with you all, and I look forward to the next 4 years. One item I would like the city to look into is I've gotten a couple of calls about the sidewalks around Downey Middle School. As we prepare for the rainy season, we want to make sure that the students have safe passages and walkways. And I'm hearing from parents that on the eastern side of Woodruff, there's needs for sidewalks. So I don't know if I could get a second on that for the staff to look into it.
I'll second that one.
Okay, thank you. I had just an opportunity to attend a couple of events. Yes, like Councilwoman Fermetta said, a lot of Halloween events, Dia de los Muertos. It's great to see. Downey is like a go-to for Halloween, right? I know Councilwoman Fermetta was like on 25 pounds of candy or something you were giving out. And
I didn't eat it. I gave it out.
yes, you gave it out. No, that's what I said. I didn't say you eat it. You gave it out. Special shout out to Desert Rain Church. Councilmember Ortiz and I had a chance to visit, and they have an amazing food pantry program every Wednesday. If you know any families impacted by scarce food resources, please look up the Desert Rain Church. They even have daily emergency food if you know anybody that's in need for that. And Employee Service Awards, thank you to our amazing staff. You keep coming through for us. And I always say that it's really our staff, starting with our city manager, that makes us look good. So thank you to our staff, especially all the ones that had service recognitions for their amount of years with the city. And with that, I will turn it over to our city manager for his comments, and we'll get on with the presentations.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing really from staff at this time. I did get the request for the survey on Golden Avenue between Blodgett and Downey. We'll look at the RVs on Cleta. We'll have code follow-up and put PD, as well as look at some of the abandoned vehicles on the streets and landscaping, and happy to continue to provide some patrols for speeding in the community to look at and monitor our thoroughfares. So thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. And now we'll get on to the Mayor's Excellence Awards. I have 2 meetings left, and there's so many great groups of people, individuals in our city. Bear with us as we recognize the following. I want to start with the Downey Conservancy. One of the things that makes Downey so special is the fact that we have an amazing history. And as it was made clear to me, the Conservancy is not just worried with history, but they're also looking at locations, buildings, right? Historic properties that we have throughout our city. And I want to invite down the current president, or is it chair of the board, president of the Downey Conservancy, Kathy Perez. Will you come and join me, please? And Diana. Let's have all the Conservancy come while I talk about you guys. So the Downey Conservancy is a nonprofit organization dedicated to identifying, protecting, and preserving Downey's historical, significant architectural and cultural resources to enhance the community's living experience. Founded in 2010, the Conservancy advocates for the preservation of Downey's unique cultural heritage, ensuring that valuable historic elements remain intact for future generations to appreciate and admire. Current initiatives include conducting a historic resource survey, maintaining public awareness of designated landmarks, organizing tours of cultural sites, and sponsoring scholarships and events focusing on Downey's history. One of the things that the Conservancy, thanks primarily to George Red Fox, who I consider the official historian for our city. Thank you, George, for everything you do. We have asked George as a treat to lead us in the tour of the double-decker bus that the council approved. Thank you. He is going to personally be giving you those tours. We have the bus coming, double-decker red. It's free. Registrations open up Monday, November the 18th. We believe it's going to be a sellout, so get your spot early. And now I want to read the recognition into the record. To the Conservancy. On behalf of the citizens of Downey, in recognition of your exceptional dedication to preserving our architectural and cultural heritage of our beautiful city of Downey, California, we thank you. Since your founding in 2010, the Downey Conservancy has been a champion of preserving our historic landmarks and enhancing our living experience. Through your initiatives, such as your historic resource surveys and the culture site tours, which we're about to embark on, and your public advocacy, you ensure that Downey's unique history is safeguarded for future generations, and this council is appreciative and wants to recognize you today, this 12th day of November, signed by the Mayor, Mario Trujillo. Thank you. And now let's have the president come on up.
President?
¿Quién es la presidenta?
It's the president. No, but I want our founder to go.
Well, okay.
George.
Why don't we have George and Kathy? All right.
Yeah,
And
both
maybe
of
the
us can
council can come out so we can take our picture. Please, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, I started this out in 2010. I've been working on history a long time here in Downey. I think I was 19 when I first started working on historical stuff, and it began kind of with the original McDonald's and the closing of that. And ever since then, I've been kind of working on this. Founded this Downey Conservancy in 2010, roughly 15 years ago, coming up in 2025, and I couldn't do it without any of these people right here. They're what keeps this thing going. All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Kathy, you want to say something?
Well, I just want to say it's nice to be on this side of the podium because over the years, we're often on the other side speaking out on behalf of the community. And it's just so nice that I think we've come to a point in time where we're really collaborating with the city. And that I'm extremely grateful, and I know my board is extremely grateful that we are truly collaborating together with the city, partnering with the city to preserve this great city's heritage. Our history is unique, it's rich, and it's something that we want to make sure not just that our present population knows about it, but it's here for our future generations to appreciate as well. So thank you to everyone for supporting our Conservancy, and thank you to the city.
All right. So let's take our picture. And the tours are on when? December?
14th, I believe.
December
Yes.
14th, Saturday.
Yeah.
Two historic tours and a holiday Christmas light tour.
Yes.
All free.
Registration opens November 18th.
Yes.
Yes. George, come on.
Come on, George.
Everybody.
That's all. We have a couple on this side over here. We balance it out. right, thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing the work. Okay, now, the Downey Historical Society. How many are here? Can we fit you all? Come on down. So the Downey Historical Society, come on, Bob, was established in 1965, well before I was born. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving the history of Downey, California through photographs, documents, artifacts, and exhibits. Located at the Apollo Park since 1987, I believe it's the Dumiscus House. Did I say it right? Dismukes House. It's on Reeves. If you look carefully when you get to Apollo on Reeves, look for that historic house. Those are the headquarters of the Downey Historical Society. They offer community programs such as lectures, tours, and annual Downey History Day while maintaining a research library and historic building tours. The society also collaborates with local schools, businesses, and organizations to promote the city's history and educate the public. I always say that some of the most valuable treasure that our city has is in their hands. The history of the city and the photos and the documents. And Gabriel, I know you've told me that you've seen the treasure. It's there, and I hope someday we're able to digitize it so we can preserve it. We have a community grant. I invite you to apply. Maybe we can get that done so we can preserve that for our generations to come. So on behalf of the citizens of Downey, through your council, in recognition of your outstanding dedication to preserving and promoting the rich history of our great city since 1965, your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Through your exhibits, through your programs, through your engagement programs, we have a deeper understanding of our city's rich past. And we thank you for that. Your invaluable contributions through the preservation of these historic artifacts, educational partnerships, and annual events such as the Downey History Day have enriched the lives of our residents and visitors alike. And for that, we are thankful. Your city council signed today, me, the mayor. Thank you so much, Mr. Dobson.
Thank you. I have something for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, look at this. I love it. A little gift. Downey Historical Society. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And a pin. All right. Keep them coming, Bob. Keep them coming. All right, man. A few words? Give us a few words, man. Speak it to the mic.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I have lived in Downey just about all of my life. Came here as a child in 1942. And a lot of changes, but the changes are for the better. I love history, I love our history, and I hope that you folks come and visit us so you can share this beautiful city and the history. We have a lot of good stuff. Please come.
When you meet, Bob, when do you meet?
We're open Wednesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 2 and the third Saturday of every week, of every month, sorry. So anyway, thank you, Mayor.
And admission is free, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Let's do it. Take a picture.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right,
man.
thank you.
All you do.
That's a slow.
Thank you again, sir.
Thank you so much for the gifts.
And if anyone is interested in joining the board, we meet on the third Thursdays of every month.
What time?
At 11 a.m.
Let's get you up here.
Yeah, I'll just stand back.
This is good. We can be at first in the line because we're going by age. I like this group.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Great work. Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so Today, we're also recognizing True Lasting Connections, a family resource center. ¿Dónde estás, Lucy? Come on down, Vente. Representing, I actually want to ask for assistance on this. We're very lucky to have some school board members. So I'm going to ask Nancy Swenson from the Downey Unified School Board to assist us in this and tell us about TLC and the great work they do and why they're being recognized today. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Well, as president of school board, I can allocate jobs. Luz, your turn.
Okay, so the TLC Center, thank you very much. We're just turned 25 years old. We started 25 years ago with seed funding to provide services to Downey Unified School District students and their families in need. Anything from a backpack to probably the worst things we've heard is a parent losing a child. So, and everything in between. And so when something happens with so many students, life happens. And we don't live in a perfect world. And when they go to a classroom and talk to a teacher and say, hey, this weekend, my dad was arrested and my mom's been crying all weekend, the teacher knows what to do. And somehow it funnels its way to TLC. And so we get about 2,000 referrals in a school year with stories like that. And I wanna introduce the staff that actually does the work. Rachel, who's the office manager, Christina, and Crystal. And they meet these families one after another. And you know, sometimes when they meet a mom who for the first time is on her own because her husband died in an accident, this is what they do. And you know, they have another appointment coming up and I hear them talking and somehow they pick them up and give them what they need with the help of the community. So when TLC started 25 years ago, we needed the buy-in of the community. We needed their support. And with having the city celebrating our birthday, I think that says it. We got the community support. So thank you very much. I know a lot of you know a lot about TLC. Thank you for being here. And I know some of you might not know enough. I invite you to visit our website and get involved. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, and thank you, Gigi. We have a big fundraiser. Maybe you guys all have heard of the TLC 5K. That's us. That's the TLC for the 5K. And it's coming up on 2/22/25, 8 a.m. at Apollo Park with the help of our friends from Parks and Rec. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So we have a certificate, and we have an amazing school district. Thank you for all the work you do. One of the things that we always promote is our amazing schools in our district. And when you have programs like this, it just shows how much caring you have for our kids and our families. So I want you to know we appreciate all that. So on behalf of the citizens of Downey and your city council, in recognition to the district and specifically TLC, your outstanding commitment to supporting vulnerable students and their families within the Downey Unified School District. Since your foundation in 2000, you've been an invaluable resource, expanding from 2 elementary schools to now district-wide services, ensuring that students receive the physical, emotional, and intellectual support they need to thrive, demonstrating the profound impact you have made in the lives of countless families in the communities. We are ever so grateful. Given this 12th day of November, signed the mayor. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Christmas. Come on, tell them Thanksgiving and Christmas we're gonna have. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Adios. Was that Dominic in the? All right. Okay, the last mayor's excellence before our recognition for our short timer over there, our fire chief. So this next Downey resident, I know she's been recognized before, but I wanted to recognize her because Reggie Donahue, I wish all communities had Reggie Donahues of the world, amazing work that she's done. I've known Reggie since I had my daughter in Gallatin, going to school with Molly, right? And Reggie's one of a kind. She's been, come on down, Reggie. I'm going to say great things about you. I want you here. So she's been married to Paul for 36 wonderful years. Reggie is a proud mother of 3 amazing adult children, Matt, Megan, and Molly. My daughter and Molly went to elementary together. And she's got a great daughter-in-law, Gianna Donahue, who works as a counselor and was a counselor to my son. The Donahues are one of those great Downey families that we're very lucky to have. She cherishes her role as a grandmother to sweet Lennon and Riley. She retired from Downey Unified School District as a resource specialist, but returned to support the special education department a few days a week. And that's admirable. Most people retire and then sometimes you never see them. Reggie, it seems like you've picked up your activities, right? She previously owned Bright Apple, a summer enrichment school, for 25 years. Some of you may have taken your kids there or participated yourself. As her children grew, she actively participated in various organizations, including the PTA, Children's Hospital Los Angeles. She served as an officer for her sorority alumni association. She's been a dedicated dance mom and cheer mom at both Warren and Downey. She currently serves as the corporate secretary of the Marriott R. Stauffer Foundation, which provides scholarships and financial awards to Downey Unified School District students, as well as grants to teachers in school. She's been an integral part of the Downey Rose Float Association, serving as a board member, second vice president, co-chaperone, and now head chaperone, contributing more than 3,000 volunteer hours. One of her most rewarding commitments has been chaperoning the Miss Downey Court. You always see her at all the events, like the mother in charge of our precious court. And she enjoys mentoring and supporting young women. In her free time, she designs and creates bling t-shirts, jackets, tumblers. She'll do the sashes too if you need some. She also boasts one of the largest collections of nutcrackers around.
Right, Claudia? After me.
Yeah. Last year, we had a tragic loss. We had a pair of public servants. They were, one was a teacher and one was a DA investigator. Remember their names? Yeah, Emilio and Annabelle, thank you. And this year, she helped organize a memorial, if you will, to raise some funds for the girls. Their grandparents moved in. They're now caring for the girls, these precious girls who were left as orphans because of this tragic accident about a year ago. And a big reason why Reggie came to mind for this award, because there was Reggie organizing the prices, checking in people, running around, and there was hundreds of people around, and I thought, that's our Reggie. And I just wanted to let you know how thankful I am that we have you. I wanted to recognize you. They raised $10,000 for the girls that day, and Reggie Donahue, in recognition of your unwavering dedication and exceptional contributions to the city of Downey and the fact that you've given over 3,000 hours of your precious time for us. Wow. Your service to the Rose Float Association, where you've had a lasting impact in leadership and your mentorship roles, your continued support for the Stauffer Foundation, as well as your involvement in numerous community organizations. You exemplified a deep commitment to the students' families, but most importantly, to the city of Downey. And we appreciate and love you for this, Reggie. Thank you. A few words?
Mario, thank you so very much. I am blessed for my family, but I'm blessed to be a part of the city, to be a part of the Stauffer Foundation, and especially mentoring my court. These are two of the girls on my court. That's Molly Newman.
Oh!
and Gianna, these are two girls, and they never go anywhere without me. And I just want to say I am blessed, and I want to continue to mentor girls, and I love my community. My motto is service is a work of heart, and I have a huge heart for the city of Downey. Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Oh my gosh. We've spent a lot of hours together.
Yeah, here's a pin for your collection. You probably already have. Of course. Girls, come on up.
I know.
Thank you. Oh, you're amazing. All right, and now we're going to ask our city manager to come assist us with the next presentation. Don't go too far, council. We have one more. You got it?
All right, thank you.
Grab my pins in my hat.
All right, thank you, Mayor. We have one more important individual to recognize this evening, and I'd like to invite Chief Hurlock up, please, and join me at the podium. Time goes by pretty quickly. I've had a great time working with the chief over the past couple of years. He has dedicated his career to the city of Downey, rising through the ranks over more than 2 decades to lead the fire department in his hometown. A Downey native and Downey High graduate, Chief Hurlock began his journey as an auxiliary firefighter in 1999 and joined the Downey Fire Department in 2000. Selected as a top student in paramedic school, he quickly moved up through the department, achieving the role of fire chief in 2021. As chief, Chief Hurlock transformed Downey's emergency response capabilities, overseeing the construction of 4 new fire stations, enhancing fire safety education for students, and implementing key systems to improve emergency services and community engagement. He's instrumental in introducing innovative programs such as Tactical Emergency Medical Services, the Advanced Problem Solving APS Training Dashboard, and the Community Connect platform. Chief Hurlock's impact extended beyond the fire department. He was an active member of the Rotary Club of Downey, served as president of the Downey Police and Fire Foundation, and held leadership roles with regional fire organizations. His commitment, professionalism, and leadership have left an indelible mark on the Downey's safety and community spirit, earning him the heartfelt gratitude of his colleagues and residents alike. I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude to his wife, Kim Hurlock, and to his family, daughters Haley and her husband, Heather and her husband, and their 2 children, whose love and support have been a cornerstone of his career and service. Thank you for loaning him to us for these past 24 years. I'm sure they're very happy to get him back full time, or have a list of things for him to do maybe at home as well.
We'll find out.
We'll find out, that's right. Like I said, it's been a blessing to me to have Chief in this position over the past couple of years. I've enjoyed our meetings, our one-on-ones, getting to know him, learning more about the fire department, and mostly just having the confidence that we have somebody with deep professional integrity, somebody that knows what they're doing in charge of our fire services, which are most important to our community. Going to be missed. I'm sure it's probably a surprise to be at this point in your life and in your career, but we wish you well and look forward to see all the many woodworking projects and things that you come up with over the years. So we do have a token of our gratitude. We'd like to give you a minute or so just to maybe say a word for yourself, and we'll invite your family up for some pictures.
Thank you, City Manager Bradley. It doesn't seem like that long ago when I was graduating from high school right across the street at Downey High. Yeah. A few years later, getting married right across the parking lot at the First Baptist Church of Downey. Buying our first home in South Downey. having our kids here at Downey Regional Medical Center and at Kaiser, and then ultimately landing the dream job at the Downey Fire Department. It's been an honor and a privilege to work here and to lead the fire department in the city that I grew up in. I want to thank the fire department and the staff, the men and women of the Downey Fire Department. The city manager listed a lot of projects that I've been the chief to oversee, but without your hard work and effort, none of that would have come to fruition. I also want to say thank you to the other department heads and the other city departments. The city of Downey really is a well-oiled team, well-oiled machine. We all work well together. We all collaborate with each other on projects. So thank you guys for your support and for being such a great team. Thank you, city manager, for having confidence in me. And thank you, city council, for all of the support that you provide to the fire, not only the fire department, but to, I know, the other departments as well. It's been a dream and a blessing for me to be the fire chief, and thank you very much.
So with that, I'll present to you your city tile recognizing your service, as well as certificate of recognition for your 24 years of service to the Downey community, as well as we'll give you the Downey pen to put on
finally get one of these.
uniform as well.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Let's get some pictures and have your family come up as well.
You should have just asked, Dan.
What's that?
You should have just asked for the pen.
Yes, thank you.
One more year. Let's bring up your family.
Yeah. Thank you. Congrats. Thank you very much. As always, well deserved.
I know. Nice to see you. Good. Thank you. Whoa, wait, where am I going?
How are you? And congratulations.
This is my parents.
Thank you. Now we will move on. Oh, wrong chair. I was wondering.
It's a little off camera there a little bit.
I didn't recognize the phones, man. I was like, okay. So now let's continue with the rest of the agenda. We always like to say thank you for coming to the presentations. If you just came for the presentations, especially if you have children, we understand if you have to leave to get them to bed. Now is a good time to head out. If that's what you want to do, you're obviously welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. Public hearings. Oh, we have one more? Oh, presentation to the City Council by SEAACA. Thank you. So you want to introduce that?
Thanks, Mayor. We'll actually have our Assistant City Manager do an introduction, and we have the Director here from SEAACA to provide the presentation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager Bradley. I'll provide a brief background before today's presentation by the Executive Director of SEAACA. Just way of background, in 1976, the City of Downey entered into a joint powers agreement creating the Southeast Area Animal Control Authority, also known as SEAACA, for the purposes of providing animal control services. SEAACA provides animal control services for 14 cities in the Southeast Los Angeles County and Northeast Orange County. In 1997, the Joint Powers Agreement was extended to June 2007, and in 2000, the Joint Powers Agreement was amended to extend the life of the agency to June 2020. And then most recently, in April 2020, the city approved an amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement, extending the agreement to June 2035. This was after SEAACA's Administrative Committee and Board of Commissioners approved the extension. I should also note that unique to the City of Downey, it also has an administrative services agreement with SEAACA. More specifically, according to the original Joint Powers Agreement establishing SEAACA, it provides that the Director of Finance of the City of Downey shall serve as the Treasurer of the Southeast Area Animal Control Authority. As part of that, the city performs accounting and administrative services on behalf of SEAACA relating to payroll, financial reporting, and other administrative financial services for which a fee is paid for that. In addition to that, I just want to note there are some noteworthy programs that the city does in partnership with SEAACA. So one of those is Pets for Troops. SEAACA launched that in 2014, and then in 2017, the city entered into an MOU with SEAACA to further this program and to have a Pets for Troops program here in the city of Downey. Through that MOU, SEAACA continues to offset 50% of the adoption fees, and the city offsets the remaining 50%. Additionally, the city covers training costs that are provided by Petco for military residents. Separate from that, the city also entered into MOU for a Mayor's Choice program, where the mayor visits SEAACA once a month, selects a dog as Mayor's Choice, and promotes the dog for adoption and through social media and other means. The payment for this program is similar to the Pets for Troops, where 50% is covered by SEAACA and the other 50% is covered by the city. I'll just note that this program was currently on hold because of the pandemic. And then most recently, earlier this year, the city had launched another program, which was an extension of the Pets for Troops, and this is Pets for First Responders. And this program extends the Pets for Troops for first responders in the city in Downey or who also work in the city of Downey. And that concludes my introduction, and I'll provide it to the Executive Director of SEAACA to do their presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening. Vanya, thank you so much. It was almost like watching the council earlier when there were items covered that I'll be covering as well. So we'll jump into some of the details of the programs that you had mentioned. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor Trujillo, Mayor Pro Tem Sosa, members of the council, and City Manager Bradley. I wanted to express our gratitude for your warm welcome tonight, and we are excited to share some information with you all regarding SEAACA and our programs. The City of Downey is one of 8 member cities, and in addition to our 8 member cities, we have 6 contract cities. So these are services provided to not only the City of Downey, but other cities that SEAACA provides services for.
Good evening. My name is Donna Soriano. I'm one of the managers at SEAACA. I'm the community outreach manager. And today we want to be able to share with you our mission with SEAACA is committed towards outreach efforts, providing resources and program information, the caring of abandoned and unwanted animals, reuniting lost pets with their families, and matching new homes for adoptable pets.
You all are very fortunate. SEAACA's Care Center is located here in the City of Downey. It's actually 1.9 miles from City Hall. So you'll notice throughout our presentation that we make suggestions and information to visit the Care Center and also to consider adopting a pet from SEAACA. And geographically, you are located very close to our Care Center.
It's exactly about 7 minutes from here. So I'm going to share what our operations consist of. SEAACA has our field services department, and we have our veterinary department, our licensing department, our front office / customer service department, and our animal care service. And that entails having animal control officers. Some of you may have seen them out in the field. They drive the white vehicles. And we also have our veterinary department that cares for the animals in our care center, our licensing department, which provides the licenses for the animals in your community. And we have our front office staff and customer services that assist with adoptions and general customer service questions as well when they call through the phone lines or in person as well. And our animal care technicians who also work in our care center. As you can see on the screen, we have our page for our website. It's SEAACA.org. And on our website, you're able to find many different resources. You are also able to view our animals. If you're looking for your lost pet, we have it right at the front that you can click on there and see through all the different animals that have come into our care center. And it includes the city of Downey. Any animal that gets lost in the city of Downey would be placed into the city of Downey as a location where it was found.
One of the things that is important to cover as an organization is the progress that has been made. Our statistics are available online at SEAACA.org. There is a statistics tab under About Us, and you can find much more information than what is located here. But we did want to point out that you can see that the intake of animals, example, in 2013 was over 19,000 cats and dogs. My apologies, this slide is specific to cats and dogs. Fast forward to 2023, and that intake number had dropped dramatically to 6,754. I also want to draw your attention to the two columns, dog humane euthanasia and cat humane euthanasia. As you can tell, the number, the percentage here of both dog and cat euthanasia has been dropping over the years. And you'll notice here that we place a lot of efforts into our programming and information to call our community to action, because we know that we cannot do the work that we do alone, and we'll be jumping into that a little bit later.
One of those, well, a few of those actions is adoptions. We have some photos of some adoptions that have been processed through our care center. And for anyone who is interested in adding a member to their a furry member to their family, we strongly encourage to adopt from not just our care center, from any care center from wherever you're located. And we also encourage for anyone who's lost their pet to go visit their care centers, their shelters that are their local, and even if it's not within their area, to check theirs as well. Our goal is to reunify the lost pets with their owners. This is our Looking for a Lost Pet page that we have many different resources that are available to community members. One of them being the Petco Love Lost, where there's actual face recognition if somebody's lost their pet, that they can upload pictures of their lost pet as well, and we report it to the Love Lost. We also have printable flyers that if somebody has lost their pet in the community, that they can print their flyer out and bring it to our care center to put in our lost and found. We also have yard signs that they can pick up from our care center if they've lost their pet, that they could put on their front lawn in case someone is driving by trying to find the owner of that lost pet. They may be able to, usually it's within the very close radius of their property where the dogs are found, or cat.
Also, on the heels of discussing pet adoption, we do run promotions, and we do have a current promotion that was just extended until November 30th. So the current promotion is our Fall in Love dog adoption promotion, and that means that dogs that are 1 day past their available date are $25. Now, please note that an animal, if a dog does not pass its health examination for their spay or neuter surgery, we would be collecting a $50 deposit, and we would return that deposit to the pet adopter once that animal has returned for its spay or neuter appointment. This promotion also includes a number of other items such as the first set of vaccinations, microchip, and fleet treatment as well. So we ask you all to continue to promote adoption. Some people look for the perfect opportunity to adopt a new pet, so now may be a good time with everyone spending time at home and with loved ones during the holidays.
I'm going to speak a little bit upon our community partners. We have a great relationship with many of our partners that we've worked with in trying to help the animals in our community and at our care center. We work with many different adoption partners or rescues, as well as different organizations that have assisted us with being able to provide resources to our community and assisting us with also rehoming some of these pets. And it's not just our dogs and cats. We get a variety of animals that come into our care center that we work closely with our community partners to help us when we call for assistance. For our media outreach, we work with many different media outreach resources that are helping us get the message out as to how important it is to adopt from animal shelters. We want to, they also assist us with being able to promote adoptions out in the community. We participate in different events such as Clear the Shelters every year so that we can continue to get animals adopted from our community. This was our first year that we participated in the California Adopt Day, and that was highly promoted in the KTLA 5 news output.
This slide in front of you here is a flow chart for our community members regarding what to do if they find baby kittens. So this flow chart is created to enable those look at the information and decide what would be best for that animal. Is that kitten sick or injured? And is it in fact an orphan will be the bottom line here. What we want to engage is, do the kittens indeed need to be removed from where they are? And if so, to call SEAACA for further information and further instructions. We'll be jumping into what that looks like in some future slides as well. This information is very important. We even have it on the door of our cat room. We continue to share this information because at times humans have the intent of helping kittens in the community, but they may actually be intervening with the mother. So we'll go over some kitten care in some future slides.
We want to be able to provide some community resources to our members who are either having some concerns with being able to rehome their pets. So we have on our website all these different resources available, as well as spay and neuter resources and our behavior and training resources and additional resources that they can access through our website. And we have been permitted to add this information on there. Our goal is to keep the animals home and to keep them from coming into shelters like SEAACA. And in order for us to be able to do that, we want to be able to also provide the tools to our residents.
So speaking of tools for and resources for our community members, I was mentioning what to do with found kittens if they indeed need care or not. And one of the items that we have is the kitten care kits. SEAACA has been very fortunate to receive kitten care kits from organizations in our community as well as through generous grant funding. SEAACA has been able to compile a number of kits. You can see an image of one on the screen in the center photo. And this includes a box with a blanket, warmer for the kitten, formula, instructions, and there's also the websites which are listed here. This is offered as an option to somebody who finds a truly orphaned kitten. From there, we ask that the finder cares for the kitten if they are able to, and then they have a couple of options after that. They can adopt the kitten or kittens themselves, or they can bring them back to the care center when they are no longer as vulnerable as they were when they were found, and we will place them for adoption at our care center. So that is our kitten foster program. And you can see here that we have somebody who was engaged with some unweaned kittens, as well as an actual photo of an unweaned kitten from our care center. And just a reminder that we do provide the supplies.
Vanya mentioned it a little bit about our Pets for Troops, and just on the heels of Veterans Day, we want to honor our active and retired military personnel, and we've had Pets for Troops for many years now, and we want to continue to be able to offer this program. And we have like Vanya mentioned, the first responders as well, that we want to be able to honor them as well. We don't have a flyer up here right now, but we do have that program also available for the city of Downey and the first responders.
And ultimately, with these programs, the first responder flyer is sitting at the back table, as well as informational flyers on many of the other topics that we're covering tonight. But ultimately, we understand and recognize the animal-human bond and how important it is and how rewarding it can be. So through these programs, we have been very fortunate to collaborate with the City of Downey to then have the adoption be at no cost to the active retired military personnel, and most recently with our first responders. So we thank you all for that. More information to come on this topic, but SEAACA will be launching a scholarship program with Good Pup. Good Pup is a online virtual training platform that can be utilized in the comfort of your own home. Good Pup will be sponsored for 4 weeks, and that will be coming from grant funding that was specifically allocated to dog training. What'll occur is somebody who has adopted a dog from SEAACA or is claiming their dog from SEAACA will have the opportunity to enroll in this program, again, with 4 weeks covered through grant funding. Again, pointing back to what Donna had mentioned earlier, it is really our hope and the best for the animal if they continue to be retained in their home. So whether that be a new successful adoption or somebody who's claiming their animal who maybe is dealing with some behavior challenges from their pet, that then they can engage the training to use to their benefit.
So this summer, we launched the Big Woof program, and it's another great resource for the community. It offers neuter for male dogs, and they can call the phone number below that's attached to the flyer. We also have those flyers at the back end, and they're more than welcome to be able to use this as a resource to also maintain their dog at home and keep them neutered and wanting to stay home.
The program also does include, similar to an adoption, this program does include a microchip if the dog does not already have one, as well as vaccinations and a dose of a flea treatment, a 1-month flea treatment. So for specific information, please see the flyer. And again, the phone number is listed both here on the screen and on the flyer. We also spend time with humane education. Humane education is very crucial to the work that we do. The reason being, and listening earlier about Downey School District and understanding the impact, the everlasting impact that individuals and groups have on our students, we understand that humane education can start at a very young age, and we've also been to preschools as well, not even waiting until elementary school age, all the way through junior high, high school, senior living facilities. Humane education is key and crucial to continuing to sharing our work and our messaging in efforts to keep animals both home and encouraging those who are looking for a new family member to come to the care center to adopt.
I just want to mention she's gone, I think. We had one of the counselors from Downey here who organized a huge blanket donation that they were at our care center, and that was really wonderful to be able to collaborate with them, and it was great to have all the kids there, and we did a presentation, and that was really awesome to see. Moving on to community outreach, we continue to want to work with the community and bringing the different resources available to the community. This is one of our large events that we had at our care center, offering microchipping and vaccination clinic, and being able to provide all the information that SEAACA has, also having adoptions available at that event. And we continue to have events throughout the city. We get contacted to attend events, and we continue to encourage to invite us so that we can be a part of the community events along with you.
Also, with community outreach, one of the things we were very fortunate to do in the city of Downey is, again, through grant funding, we were able to provide 100 free vaccinations to pets that lived within SEAACA service cities. I just wanted to note that we are hoping to host one more. It does not look like it'll be in the city of Downey. However, Downey residents would still be welcome as a service city. So please pay attention to our social media page. We will be promoting a upcoming free vaccination event made available through grant funding.
We have our SEAACA's official social media pages up on the screen, and you're more than welcome to visit our different social media pages and see for different updates that we have available. Like Denise mentioned, we will be posting different events that will be coming up at our care center. We also promote our current adoption promotions on there.
And that concludes our presentation. I thank you very much for your time. I know you've had a very full evening, but we want to thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to see if any of my colleagues have any questions for our staff or for the director.
I have a couple. Thank you for the presentation. It's a lot of detail in there. And I may have missed this, but I noted a few questions I wanted to know on. Regarding the spaying and neutering, I know you just talked about the big wolf. You can neuter dogs for free, and a lot of times people cannot afford to do that. What is the program for cats regarding that? What the cost is? Are there vouchers and maybe the lead time? Do we do it in-house or do we send it out?
That's a great question. So cats adopted from SEAACA would be spayed or neutered with SEAACA. However, if you were referring to maybe a constituent in the community who has a cat and is looking for a spay and neuter program, we had the Big Meow program. However, to switch gears in our resources, the Big Meow program has been paused, and we have moved forward with the Big Wolf at this time. On the resource pages, you will see external resources that are available to the community, but for right now, the program is focused on the Big Wolf.
And the reasoning that it's paused, is it too many or no one's around or you don't provide that service?
The services that are provided with the Big Wolf program are performed off-site. Those are not performed at SEAACA. Okay. It had to do with the capacity of the medical team and resources available. So we tried to run them concurrently, however, it was not available to us. We continue to seek other veterinarians in the area who would be willing to participate in this program, but unfortunately, we have not had anybody else on board with us.
So there's no vouchers available? Sometimes there's cities or organizations that provide $100 voucher. They take it to that animal. They'd have to go on your website, go to an off-site location to have that done?
That's correct. There is no voucher program in place.
Okay. My next question, I see that in 2023, the cat intake was over about 3,000, which is less than in prior years. But I understand since, was it the pandemic, that they don't take cats in? So what type of cats would be in that would be coming? What is that 3,000?
Yeah, that's a great question. So those cats that we do conduct intake on, first of all, that was a shift with animal care and control organizations across the country. Rather than intaking cats endlessly, the cats that would enter our care center, including up to this day, would be those who are sick, injured, or otherwise suffering. Otherwise suffering does go back back to the slide that I showed you with the unweaned kittens, they would not be able to care for themselves if they were indeed orphaned.
We have, as you mentioned, 8 member cities and 6 contracted. How long have the contracted cities, what's the most recent year that you added on a contract city?
The last contract city, if I have it correctly, I believe it was the city of La Palma. I do know that, and it was 2009.
2009. Okay.
Can I just add to that question? How do you add other contract cities to your portfolio? Because La Palma is pretty far, no?
Yes, the 2 Orange County cities are the city of Buena Park and the city of La Palma. The direction would come from SEAACA's Board of Commissioners, and then once that direction is provided, then I, Denise, would then take the baton and run with looking at if there would be a good fit for another contract city, which cities that would look like.
Is there consideration for additional cities right now?
At this time, there is not.
What's the nearest shelter, other than the one on Garfield that's a county-owned, what would be the nearest shelter similar to SEAACA?
So when you say nearest, aside from you mentioned, there's Downey, the LA County Department of Animal Care and Control Services, also located here in the city of Downey, on the other side of town from us. They do get confused with us quite a bit, but in addition to that, Long Beach Animal Services is also near us. Now, the difference is that is a city run and operated animal control services. However, SEAACA is a joint powers authority, so our makeup is different.
You talked about having a Clear the Shelter this year. This was the first year. How many would you say were adopted through that event?
So Clear the Shelters is a reoccurring event that has been happening year after year. However, this year was the first California Adoption Day that was formulated by Cal Animals, and a number of organizations participated. I don't have that answer off the top of my head, but I could even probably send to you some of the information and feedback that we received with the turnout. Without going over specific numbers, I will say that the feedback received was really great feedback for the state.
A lot of our cities' youth like to do volunteer work and such. They're always looking for community hours. Do we have any volunteers from any of our high schools helping in the shelter, like walking the dogs or taking animals out, or things that they can do within their capacity?
So we do currently have multiple youth who are volunteering at our care center. They make a huge impact. They assist with doing our laundry, dishes, our sorting out our cat boxes and walking some of the animals. They also assist with customer service. And like I mentioned, we had just Downey out there, and I mentioned to them we're looking at possibly other pilot programs that we're trying to implement very soon that will also hopefully have participation of additional youth.
Are they able to work much with the animals, or is there a liability issue with that?
So we do. The programs that we're currently working with do have coverage for liability. We, at one point, were working with MAID, which is out of the city of Downey, and I do plan to reach out to them again. It was since the pandemic, I believe, that we've not been able to work with them recently, but we do work with other high schools that are also very similar to the MAID program that are currently active at our care center right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just had one quick question. With respect to deceased animals, I imagine it's not just dogs and cats because we have other animals in this. What's the process like after hours? If someone calls in, I understand they leave a message and that gets routed and eventually someone comes to pick up the deceased animal?
Yeah, so the best thing to do would be to call the care center during our regular hours, so that way one of our clerks can take the call and generate the call. After hours is intended for emergency purposes. That could be, example, an injured animal, animal bite incident. If it is a deceased animal that is causing a traffic hazard, that could be something that could be called into the emergency phone line. But the most ideal route for a deceased animal would be during the call center, during the care center's operating hours. So that way we can have that call placed by one of our customer service team members, our clerk cashiers, and then they can have that showing on the screen for response for our field team.
So, because we do get this question sometimes, so just if someone calls at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday for a deceased animal, given that it's Friday night, and what's the likelihood of that deceased animal getting picked up over the weekend? Or do they have to wait till Monday?
Yeah, it's all geographically based, and it also has to do with the number of emergencies that we are responding to. There may be times when an animal control officer is near the location of a deceased animal because they were closing out a call. However, they may need to wait until the next day or even later than that, depending on the field activity. I also wanted to mention that it does sound unpleasant, and I do not take any of these comments lightly, but if an animal is a burden and a resident felt that they wanted to bring it to us, we do see some who wish to do so, but if not, as long as we have that call on the screen, we'll know that we do have to respond to it. But the responses to those who are sick and injured, and also human-related incidents that constitute an emergency for our care center, those would be taken care of as a priority over a deceased animal.
And just thank you for that. And one more question. So the normal operating hours are Monday through Friday? Are there any hours on Saturday?
We have hours on Saturday as well.
Okay.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, our phone lines are open from 8 to 6. And then on Thursday, we're open, 8 to 5. And then on Thursday from 9 to 6. The care center is closed on Sundays and Mondays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have just a comment. Thank you, Denise, for the presentation. I appreciate the work. And if you can just go back to the slide of the cats and dogs, the intake and the humane euthanasia. I think it's important to, again, point out there has been a decrease in humane euthanasia for both cats and dogs. And I think it's important for the community, and I think this is what the member cities have been working really hard to do, with you and your leadership, is have social media campaigns to inform the public on the spade and neutering aspect of things, because at the end of the day, SEAACA is an animal control agency, and we are all responsible for making sure that the animals under our care are spayed and neutered accordingly. Otherwise, the population of potentially unwanted cats and dogs continues to explode. And as you've mentioned, there are agencies, animal control agencies across the country that post-pandemic, during the pandemic when everybody was working from home, everybody wanted to adopt a pet. And that was great. And when the return to work and return to office space became then more regular, then we had this increase, spike of unwanted dogs and cats as a result of their owners going back. So I think it's important, two things, that the community really, that continued awareness and the community to understand what the role and the job of SEAACA is, and the fact that, yes, there have been efforts and there have been successful in bringing down humane euthanasia within SEAACA.
Yeah, thank you for that.
We can put that slide up again. I don't know if that's possible.
And also, while that slide is coming up, it's important to note that when individuals did acquire animals, whether it be during the pandemic or even modern day, that some choose to and some opt to obtain a dog from a breeder, whether that be a breeder in a different state and the animal is flown here, or that it is somebody who is breeding out of their backyard and is nearby.
Right there.
The reason why I bring that up is because these are the challenges that we are up against with pet overpopulation. And yes, you did hit the nail on the head when you mentioned that this is a challenge, not just at our care center, not just in our region, our state, but nationally. It continues to be a challenge. And so that is why you hear us say the words adopt probably 100 times tonight in our presentation, because to our core, that is something that we believe does make a difference. And as you saw, in pointing back to the numbers, SEAACA's team, there's some members of SEAACA's team here today, they work tirelessly to try to help the animals in our care and in our communities. And so having those in our community also step up and recognize how they can contribute to the work that we do is extremely valuable to us. So between our team and our community members and those who even adopt just one animal from us, it makes a huge impact on our care center.
And then one last question, Denise, because it seems as though some people have been under the impression that SEAACA always offered spade and neutering services for individuals just bringing their animal. And you responded to that a few minutes ago. If it's an animal that is obtained from SEAACA, yes. But if you're bringing your pet, was there any time that SEAACA offered those services?
Do you recall? Yeah.
We had the big meal.
I don't remember off the top of my head, except for we did have the big meow, as we discussed earlier, that was in-house for a brief moment. However, the big meow was also facilitated off-site. But regarding individuals just showing up for spay and neuter resources, I don't recall, it doesn't mean no never, but I don't recall that off the top of my head. We do have vaccination clinic at the care center, and maybe that could be what it is. And at one time, I also do recall that there were doctor exams that were facilitated at the care center with very limited outcome from there. The good news is, as you've seen, the live outcomes have continued to grow. And with that said, it does occupy our medical team quite a bit. They're very busy preparing these animals for surgery and release or returning for their surgery once they're healthy. And so they are extremely busy making our agency world go around and providing treatments to the animals in our care. But I don't recall that exactly, other than the Big Meow program.
Thank you, Denise. And just as a last thought, because I think it's important for the community, not just here in Downey, but those that are watching us on YouTube, to realize that SEAACA is, again, the 8 member cities, including Downey, plus 6 contracted cities. SEAACA is often confused with a county agency, and SEAACA doesn't have those resources. We are a boutique agency, and these member cities contribute. We pay a great deal of money to fund this boutique agency, and so there's no comparison. This is not a county-run agency, and so as much as we want to provide a portfolio of all kinds of services, sometimes the resources may be limited. That's all I have.
Thank you for that. And on top of that, we do always greatly appreciate the support and message sharing regarding events, promotions, and so forth. So even if it cannot be monetary, the support and message sharing does mean a great amount to us. Thank you.
And I would like to, again, make sure that our staff continues to work with SEAACA and invite them to be part of the various events that we have for Adopt a Pet and or vaccination clinics. I think that, we will continue to move forward with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have one question for staff. If I was hearing correctly, in 2017, we ended the Pets for Troops, the voucher program?
The Pets for Troops is still a program along with the Pets for First Responders. It was the Mayor's Choice program that was started under Rick Rodriguez's, one of his projects, but that had paused during the pandemic.
Okay, so we still offer that just as
Yes, it's something if the council would like to seek under their tenure, that is something that can still be done.
I have a question about staffing. What's the total number of employees that you supervise?
I don't have the exact number. You mean today in the building?
No, budgeted positions.
Budgeted positions is 76.
What's your current vacancy of the 76?
I don't have that number off the top of my head. I do know that there are vacancies in various departments.
And what's your plan to fill the vacancies? Our understanding is that arguably some of the part-time entry-level positions are low compared to like the fast food industry now. What's your plan to fill the vacancies?
Yeah, I can't go into detail here in front of you all. However, I did want to mention that SEAACA is actively engaged in labor negotiations, so we are hopeful that we will reach a successful successor MOU that will then be sustainable and fair for all involved.
How long have the employees been without a contract?
We have the 22-23 MOU. We have not stopped moving forward with what is in the 22-23 MOU. And we are negotiating, we've been negotiating since October of 24.
We have to be a little bit careful, Mayor, too, because this is something that's that's really related to their organization, and we shouldn't be able to get into their what are closed session conversations with your board at this point. So we have to be a little careful what the ground that we tread on with this one.
Okay.
We get frequent emails calling SEAACA a high-kill shelter. What is the definition of a high-kill shelter? And based on our numbers, are we in that category?
So the term high kill, that varies from individual to individual. If you go back to that slide, you'll notice that the dog live release rate, that is for all dogs, not just those who are considered healthy adoptable, that is hovering right about 90%. Some would call that 90% a no-kill benchmark. However, I also wanted to point out that the cats and kittens are indeed the underdog when it comes to live release numbers. So we have information regarding the comment or the phrase high kill on our website under the fact check that kind of dives into that a little bit more.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
No further questions.
All right, well, thank you so much for your presentation and to the staff.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
You have a nice evening.
Okay, we're going to move on to public hearings. There's one public hearing item this evening. It's a request to amend Article 9 of the Downey Municipal Code to regulate the location of businesses that sell tobacco and tobacco products. This is under the purview of the Community Development Department. But the City Council introduced an ordinance approving a zoning text amendment, PLN 24-00159, to sections 9128, 9158, and 9160, and 9314.04, Article 9 of the Downey Municipal Code to establish new use of tobacco retailers. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open. The time is 8:20 p.m. City Clerk Duarte, do you have proof of publication?
Yes, Mayor.
Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the publication?
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report?
Yes, Mayor. We have Alfonso Hernandez, our principal planner, who will provide the report today.
Thank you. Please come forward.
Thank you.
Ms.
Just a quick update. Tonight we'll have a co-presentation led by our contract planner, Lindsay Ortega, and Principal Planner Alfonso Hernandez will be available for questions, including myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay. Good evening, Mayor Trujillo, and members of the City Council. My name is Lindsay Ortega. I am a planning consultant with Sagecrest Planning and Environmental. The item before you today is PLN 24-00159, a zoning text amendment request to amend Article 9 of the Downey Municipal Code to regulate the location of businesses that sell tobacco and tobacco products. On March 12th, 2024, City Council directed staff to initiate a zoning text amendment to regulate the location of tobacco retailers in the city. Council's direction was to implement a buffer between businesses whose primary purpose is to sell tobacco, including tobacco-related products, with parks, daycare centers, and schools within the city. The city has recently evaluated the number of retail businesses whose primary operations is dedicated to the sale of tobacco and tobacco products. This includes vape and vape-related products. There are approximately 21 retail stores exclusively dedicated to the sale of tobacco and tobacco products operating in the city. According to the Center of Disease Control, more than 3,200 children begin smoking each day in the United States. The negative health effects of smoking on minors include addiction to nicotine, reducing lung function, reduced lung growth, and early cardiovascular damage. The state of California has adopted the following statutes to make smoking less desirable to minors and to prevent minors from beginning to smoke. This includes SB 7, statutes of 2016, which raised the minimum age to purchase and/or possess tobacco products from the age of 18 to 21. SB 793, which prohibits tobacco retailers or any retailer's agent from selling most flavored tobacco products. And AB 935, which further clarified enforcement and penalties for selling flavored tobacco and tobacco-related products. Under the zoning text amendment, tobacco retail uses would continue to be permitted by right in the C1 and C2 zones. However, any new tobacco retailer would be subject to a 1,000-foot buffer from any park, childcare center, or school. As proposed, the distance would be measured from the property line of the park or school or daycare to the tenant space of the tobacco retailer. Staff has overlaid a 1,000-foot buffer radius from parks, childcare centers, and schools onto the city's zoning map to ensure that the proposed 1,000-foot buffer zone is large enough to achieve the city's goal, but not so large that the amendment indirectly prohibits the use. Analysis of the overlaid zoning map shows that there would be several properties along Telegraph Road, Firestone Boulevard, Imperial Highway, Paramount Boulevard, and Lakewood Boulevard where future tobacco retailers could potentially be established. The proposed buffer would reduce the ability to sell tobacco near locations where minors congregate, thus potentially limiting the use of tobacco products and furthering the interest of public health. The proposed zoning text amendment would establish a new classification titled tobacco retailer. A tobacco retailer, the proposed definition includes any business whose sale of tobacco and tobacco products and/or tobacco accessories are 50% or more of their gross sales. Staff intends for this to capture businesses that primarily sell tobacco while not limiting gas stations, liquor stores, convenience markets, or grocery stores. 17 of 21 existing tobacco retail businesses are located within the proposed buffer zones. These would be classified as non-conforming uses, which the city uses should the city choose to adopt the ordinance as written. As with all non-conforming uses, typically they would be subject to provisions of the Downey Municipal Code, Section 9410, non-conforming uses, buildings and structures. Per DMC 9410, non-conforming uses are not permitted to expand the use, increase the size of the tenant space, or relocate to another tenant space, except if the new location would meet the minimum separation requirements. As well with all non-conforming uses, they are permitted to continue operations provided they do not discontinue operation for more than 180 days. The application was previously heard by the Planning Commission at its regularly scheduled meeting of October 16th, 2024. However, Planning Commission expressed concerns related to the negative impacts to current businesses, which would now be classified as nonconforming uses. So after considering all evidence and testimony provided at the public hearing, the following deliberation, a motion to recommend approval to the City Council passed with a 5-0 vote, with a request to staff to include additional language in the ordinance that would be forwarded to City Council that would address the concerns regarding legal nonconforming locations. The list above identifies the municipal code sections, which would be updated as part of the zoning text amendment to clarify existing definitions, as well as add the tobacco retailer definition. The proposed zoning text amendment was advertised in the Downey Patriot on October 31st, along with the summary of the proposed ordinance, and a notice was mailed to all existing tobacco retailers and interested parties. No public comments were received for tobacco retailers, or from tobacco retailers. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time, and I'm available to answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you. I believe now we're going to hear from, are we going to hear from Alfonso, or is that conclude?
I think we're done with our presentation at this point. Thank you, Mayor.
Very well. Do any members of the council have any questions or comments?
Just one question. If the existing tobacco store, which is non-conforming now, will be staying, they'll be like grandfathered in, if that tobacco store owner sells the tobacco store to a new person, they would then be non-conforming. They cannot resell under a new business name that tobacco store and still be kind of grandfathered in under that clause?
I don't think we specifically covered. Okay, I'll defer to Irma.
I can take that question. So the reference was made on one of the slides that the section of the Downey Municipal Code 9410 would be consistent of the non-conforming use clauses. What that means is that any business that is within a buffer, meaning doesn't meet the new requirements, would be allowed in the non-conforming section to continue, and they would be able to transfer to a new owner. As proposed by the Planning Commission, with Planning Commission input and the ordinance before you, there would actually be a carve-out, which means that the non-conforming section of the city's current municipal code would not apply to tobacco shops that are located within a buffer zone.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No. Are they allowed to expand or not expand? No, right? If they are currently right there at the location.
As presented to the City Council tonight with Planning Commission's recommendation, they would be allowed to expand, even if they're within the buffer zone.
Those existing.
Those existing, which means the 17 of the 21 would be allowed to expand, even though they're in the buffer zone.
Okay. And based on the documents that you provided, on page 2, the City of Downey, November 4, 2024, had a total of 21. On attachment C, January 9, 2024, we had 16. So within the 10-month period, 4 of them opened up already?
5 additional retailers opened as of January 2024.
So January 24, okay. Wow. Well, I want to mention to my council colleagues, I appreciate you guys compromising. I mean, personally, this was something that I brought up for discussion. I think 21 is more than enough, in my opinion. But I do want to say I appreciate my colleagues working together and collaborating to make sure that we can get something done for this. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments for the presenters before we go to public comment? Seeing none, thank you so much for your presentation. If you'll stay in case we need to answer something from public comments. Okay, so we're going to move on to the public comment portion. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated into the record as to specifically this agenda item?
We did not, Mayor.
Thank you. And now to in-person public comment. Members of the audience wishing to address the city council regarding this hearing item may come up when your number is called. We'll be calling the pink number cards for this item. Your comments must be regarding this public hearing item only. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have one speaker, Mayor.
Please come forward, speaker number 1. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Smoke shops, 21 of them. Does that include supermarkets and gas stations? Don't they sell cigarettes too? Yeah, I think they do. I'm sure that number is substantially higher. I don't know why we're so worried about tobacco and tobacco products. I mean, we care about the kids, we claim to, but that's very disingenuous. But the question that I have is, why the concern about where the smoke shops are at? Is this a segue for when people try to bring in the pot shops in the Downey? Is that possible? I think that may be something to think about. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Thank you. The time is 8:33. We have a motion by Councilwoman Frometa.
And second.
A second by Councilmember Ortiz. No vote is required. I will so order. Is so ordered by the mayor. Unless there are any comments from the council, I'll entertain a motion and a second to introduce the ordinance. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilwoman Frometa. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Ortiz. Please vote on the recommended amendment.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. We will now move on to public comment on agenda, consent calendar, and non-agenda items. If you did not receive a number card and wish to speak, please proceed to the back. We're doing blue number cards. And before we begin, I want to remind you that the city's meeting rules contained in the code prohibit any conduct that disturbs, disrupts, or interferes with the orderly conduct of this meeting. Copies of the rules are located in the back. Anyone who speaks and violates the rules and causes disruption will receive one warning, then may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum may also result in an administrative fine under the municipal code or a citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. The City Council acknowledges the right of the public to address issues that are within the city's jurisdiction and invites the public to do so during the City Council meeting. However, this right must be balanced with the need of the City Council to conduct the public business in a fair and efficient manner, free from disruption or disturbance. We expect that everyone who participates in today's meeting, from members of the council here on the dais to staff to the members of the public in attendance, do so with respect and dignity. Please refrain from using profanity, name-calling, or behaving in any way that disrupts this meeting. This includes yelling, whistling, booing, screaming, any conduct that interferes with or disrupts persons who are addressing the council, any conduct that interferes with or disrupts council members while they're speaking, and any other conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Attacks of a personal nature on city staff or city council members that have no connection to agenda items or non-agenda items. I remind you that your comments must be addressed to me directly, not to any of the council members, city staff, or the audience. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment to be incorporated into the record?
Yes, Mayor, we did. We have a total of 4 written public comments. The first public comment is regarding mothers and newborn babies in Gaza. The second written public comment is regarding boycott, divestment, sanctions, and sanction movement. The third written public comment is regarding Measure D and the increase in sales tax. And the fourth public comment is regarding item number 13 and against changing the current election system that the city has. And then copies of these written public comments are provided in the back of the room for members of the public and have been distributed to the City Council at the dais, Mayor. And that is all.
Is there a motion and a second to receive and file written public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Pemberton, second by Ortiz. Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
In-person public comment, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have 15 numbers that were issued and 3 individuals have left the meeting. So 13 total right now.
13. So 13 times. Okay. Okay, based on the number of speakers, each speaker will have 2 minutes to address the council. I remind all speakers that you must remain seated until your number is called. Speaker number 1, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Tom Millhouse. I live on Auto Street in Downey, and I've been here a couple times and questioned when the street's going to be repaved. Can you hear me now? And I was thinking about the project that's underway to repave some of the streets in northeast Downey. And I was wondering if the city would consider maybe making an effort to keep the citizens informed about the progress of the deliberations to get a contract and then the scheduling that's going to be decided on to get the streets repaved. Maybe something could be put in the Downey newspaper, or there could be some kind of some other method of communicating what's being done. I also want to say how proud I am to be a citizen of Downey and to live here in such a wonderful city where we have this city government that works so well, and the wonderful citizens that do everything they do to keep our city great. And I think getting the streets repaved would be a good part of that.
Thank you, sir. City Manager?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We definitely can make sure that we put some information out and do a better job of making sure you're informed of what's going on, and we are working to pave the whole community, so we're getting there. But we'll get you that information and make sure it gets out there.
Yeah, we're gonna have our Public Works Director give you his card, and then if you have specific questions, is it okay if he just emails them directly?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, sir, for coming in. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Speaker number 2, please come forward.
Hi.
Good evening.
Mayor, thank you very much. I've been living in Downey for 20 years now, and I know I'm a newcomer to a lot of you. I love it. I love it here. Wouldn't move anywhere else, except for closer to my grandkids. We live on 4th Street, just off of Smallwood, and we had a catastrophic accident there today. We had one of our neighbors walking her dog, crossing the street, got hit by a car. And I've seen cars blow through these intersections every day when I walk my dog. And I don't know what can be done, but something's got to be done to make our streets safer. Council, I've talked to you about this a few times, and I know there's limitations on the stop signs that can be put in. My heart, it just happened so recently. She was taken to the trauma center, and I haven't heard anything since then. So we're hoping that she's going to be okay. But I won't be the same walking my dogs in the neighborhood anymore for a while. And people were flooded with cars coming off of Firestone, taking shortcuts or taking long cuts, or because Firestone always gets backed up. You know, maybe that's the root cause of the problem. But I'd like to call for an investigation of the traffic patterns through my neighborhood, and we can include all of that. All the neighborhoods, it sounds like, in Downey have the same issue. I'd like to call for some sort of investigation of the traffic patterns.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Just say, Mayor, we'll have the Public Works Director follow up. We did recently look at our local road safety plan and look at traffic patterns within the community and accidents. We are aware of some areas that need some additional improvements. We are working on that. I will say one of the benefits of the recent passage of Measure D will be additional presence of our police department patrolling the community, so that will help with some enforcement and help with trying to do some more traffic calming. But we are looking at measures that we can take to continue to calm traffic throughout the community so that we can deal with some of these issues that have been arising so that we keep people safe. But thank you, sir.
Do we have any updates of the injured pedestrian? Nothing yet. Okay. Thank you for coming, sir. Speaker number 3.
All right. Chief Hurlock, enjoy your retirement. I know he's a little disappointed with me because I forgot to bring my whiteboard the last year. It got overworked, but I was thinking, I saw he was retiring. I was going to get him one for a retirement present, but anyway, sorry about that. Enjoy your retirement. Good luck. Number 14, I just want to notice today that the nonprofit grifters were all in here, friends of yours, and that have been rewarded graciously with our money. They were here at the feeding trough tonight. Some of them were, not all of them, but some of them were. And I'm sure they'll be part of the group that gets the benefits that go with that. And another one, number 14, interesting, another $268,000 going to RMI International Incorporated for additional patrol of the parks. Now we have Measure S. We were promised basically more public safety and more officers, but what do we have? We have, what do you call those guys? They're not officers, but rangers instead, but we need 19 more officers. We have 124. In 2017, Measure S was passed, and we still have 124. Not one officer was added, and the promise of Measure D is not going to add any more officers. It's probably going to go to bonuses for department heads. That might be a good place for it. But we need officers. Crime has gone up, and it's not the police officers' fault. It's not their fault at all. But we need more officers, 143 officers. That's what we need.
Thank you. Speaker number 4, please come forward. 4. Good evening.
My name's Nadine Dossie Diaz, and I'm from Whittier. And Hi, I'm actually from nextdoor.com and the city of Whittier. And I came because of the SEAACA meeting tonight regarding animal control issues. Unfortunately, the animal control issues that we have are so grave and so desperate and so upsetting. I am so upset to see that 15 dogs are going to be euthanized in one day. I don't care if they're SEAACA or if they're county, city. This has gotten too complicated, and there's too many of us cities that are going to one location. Unfortunately, no one has done anything to improve our shelters or create more of them. We just continue to build more homes and consistently flood our streets so we can't even move and get to where we want to be when we go to work and come home anymore. What the people are experiencing, so are the pets. And I really refrain from the word animal. I refer to us all as mammals. Pets are people too. And we abolished the death penalty. I'm sorry, euthanasia is not humane. I've just put 3 pets to sleep and sat through the whole process with them, and that's not humane. It's painful. They feel, and so do I feel. We need to do more with creating more shelters so that we can accommodate these pets and get more staff and people who will volunteer. Well, everybody's got to work, go to school. Trying to get volunteers and trying to get fosters is almost impossible. And all I can say is pound on doors and beg.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please do something to improve what's going on with our pets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call speaker number 5 to come forward.
Lee Squire, Vietnam era veteran, Cold War veteran, war on communism, federal civil rights advocate. Mayor and City Council. 1, happy 249th birthday, U.S. Marine Corps. Veterans Day, to all the Vietnam veterans who served in country, welcome home. Congratulations to Dorothy Pemberton on your re-election. You were well supported by We the Veterans. Also, good riddance to LADA Gascon. 3rd time, finally got him. 2 recalls didn't make it. By God, he's gone. Item 13, City Council should consider 5 elected districts with annual mayor rotation. As to being sued, Brea was served a similar letter about 4 years ago. All were at large. I think in 2026, they caved. They're going to be 26. They're going to be 5 districts. City of Placentia thought they could get away with it. The ACO sued them. They're now 5 districts. I'm asking you to make it 5 districts with a rotating mayor. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm not for a actual elected mayor. I don't think it's necessary. Also, as to that item, we have the right to know what is meant by a protected class status. I believe that has to do with the federal civil rights of these individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Squire. Speaker number 6, please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Elvira Lopez. I'm from the city of Downey. And the reason because I'm here is pretty much about SEAACA. Unfortunately, well, first of all, it was a really, really nice presentation. But let's be honest, actions speak louder than words. And for whoever, Council Dorothy, Horacio, who were able to walk into the shelter, I think their words differ pretty much for what we see in there. Yes, you can tell me that it's a different shelter, I don't know how that works or whatever. But can somebody explain me why that little facility is serving 14 cities? I mean, they come and tell us that they are short staff, the resources, whatever you want to tell me, but they're still serving 14 cities. It's called a high shelter for a reason. When they kill more than 15, 20 dogs in a week, how do you call that? As the lady that was here from Whittier earlier, yes, euthanasia is painful. If somebody has witnessed that, believe me, you will be crying. And that's not okay. Yes, we have irresponsible owners which create all this situation and make it worse. Backyard breeding or whatever. But the shelter is not helping. They don't say that rescuers are not able to help. How many times they are rejected by the shelter? They didn't say that, but they are. Volunteers? How many volunteers? They are not allowed to work with them. Dogs are not being walked. They are in the cage 24/7. Many dogs don't even make it to the website because they are killed 1 or 2 days after. So I think enough is enough. This is not a situation from weeks or months. It's years. There have been lawsuits against SEAACA. I don't know why they never went through, because nobody follows them. Our money is going over there in one way or another one. And if people don't care about animals, at least let's care about our money. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. Speaker number 7, please come forward.
Hi, this is Yasuyoni Nomiya. I'm speaking about the SEAACA. SEAACA repeats the same program year after year. SEAACA claims that it does not euthanize its healthy dogs. And while this may be technically accurate according to the data, I believe there are issues that warrant closer examination. One example is the handling of a parvovirus case when a newly admitted dog is found to have parvovirus. Other dogs in the same kennel are recorded as having been possibly exposed. This designation is applied even if actual infection has not been confirmed, leading these dogs to be added to the unionized list. While this approach may indeed reduce the number of animals housed at the shelter, more quickly. It seems arbitrary and potentially unnecessary. The same approach is taken with the case of kennel cough and can influenza. Where exactly are these dogs contracting these infections? These infections are happening within SEAACA's facility itself, which for humans would be referred to as hospital-acquired infections. Yet every year, the same problem unfolds like an changing event without any preventive measures being learned or implemented. Many citizens have already expressed their concern about these practices in SEAACA community meeting and the city council session. Why this repeated appears from? Okay,
Thank you. Speaker number 8, please come forward.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. My name is Michelle Peterson. You may remember me. I've been here a few times before. I'm a 15-year veteran of SEAACA. And before I get to my main focus, I just wanted to mention that although I'm not a lawyer, it does not seem that allowing the executive director to speak on the issues of staffing, high vacancy, and the impact of staffing turnover should qualify as closed session. But on to my comments. SEAACA does a lot of wonderful things, and it's not easy. There are wonderful programs for adoptions, the Big Wolf to help neuter pets for people that don't have the means necessarily to do this on their own. So many different programs going on, the Pets for Troops, the Pets for First Responders, the $25 program right now. So many things that are really good. But who makes it happen? It's the frontline workers, the ones that are doing the job of, when each person is doing the job of 2, it gets more and more difficult and we become less effective. Any of us who have stayed for 15 years, we care about what we're doing. We love the difference that we make and our ability to serve our community. But there just are not enough people, and it's because the compensation is not adequate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. I want to make sure speaker number 9, we understand left, speaker number 9 and 10 left. Okay, moving on to speaker number 11. Please come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Good
Thank
evening.
you. I want to thank my neighbor, Stuart Bagg, for coming up and talking about the incident that happened this morning in our neighborhood. I'll tell you what, I saw something today that I hope no one here ever has to see or ever has seen. This lovely woman who walks in our neighborhood every morning with her beautiful dog was laying on the ground in a pool of blood. I really don't know at this point whether she's alive or dead, or if she is alive, if she'll ever fully recover. This is the second incident that's happened in our little area of Orange Estates. That's what I call the Smallwood Corridor. A couple of summers ago, I was walking my dog and I heard the impact of a car hitting something, and I looked up to see a child flying through the air. He was hit on his bicycle. Now, mercifully, this little boy only broke his jaw and suffered some bruises and lacerations. He did not have any neurological damage, and he's doing well. But it was a terrible thing to see. And the neighbors in my area, including Mr. Bagg, we've been concerned about it, and we're talking about it a lot. We're worried. There are no stop signs on many of those intersections on the east-west streets 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. And some of them, like Harper and 8th, I think have no stop signs at all on any of them, north, south, or east, west. I implore the city council to take action. I don't know what the answer is. Is it more stop signs? Is it speed bumps? Is it more patrol of officers in the area? But I think if the status quo remains, we unfortunately will find ourselves hearing more and more of these types of terrible incidents. And I, for one, don't want to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our Public Works Director is coming to speak with you. Thank you. I understand the number 12 left, so we'll move on to speaker number 13. 12, did you leave? Okay, 13, please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Bradley and staff. First of all, 2 topics. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge Fire Chief HURLOCK and thank him for his service to our community and wish him well on his new travels. Secondly, I want to talk to you about a comment you made at the last meeting about Rotary. What you indicated in a terse statement. You said that Rotary is a network of business owners, and then you moved on. Now, it's true, Rotary is a network of business owners, but it's a heck of a lot more, Mr. Mayor. It's an international organization of approximately 1.4 million members. We have 45,000 clubs throughout the world. And what we do is we use our time, our talents, and sometimes our money to make our communities a better place. Rotary is trying to eliminate polio throughout the world, and we've combined with the World Health Organization, as well as the William Gates Foundation, to try to eliminate Rotary. Try to eliminate polio and not Rotary. So it's been an elusive target, and it's something that we continue to do. We have many programs throughout the world, and in our local area, we support the YMCA, we support the TLC Center, and many other programs. We provide food for people, we help the elderly, and I am proud, Mayor, to be a member of the Downey Rotary.
And a great Rotary it is. Their motto is service above thyself. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Sure did. And yes, Rotary's amazing. Speaker 14.
Hello.
Good evening.
I am Lisa Luna, the veteran Chihuahua Whisperer of SEAACA for almost 15 years. These months have been very busy. I'm sure you've heard of the mass euthanasia list of our animals. Fortunately, almost all got rescued due to the public's help. It's still been challenging to find staff to perform humane euthanasia since not everyone is certified. Some animals have to lie in wait for an officer to come back from the field and take it to the vet hospital. It's hard not to feel undervalued every time I receive my paycheck, which has remained the same while administration gets generous raises. Yet my hard work is contributing to their wealth. I've been speaking on behalf of the hardworking employees at SEAACA, trying to get the proper employee training, safety for handling the animals' benefits, and receiving fair wages. Management has 100% free medical, while the frontline workers are putting their lives at risk for the bare minimum. This is the first time our animal care technicians have an absent supervisor. It's been a revolving door of employees. No one thinks of SEAACA as long-term. It's unfortunate to have former employees say that they would have stayed if the pay was higher and they were treated better. Dedication and seniority is not a priority to SEAACA. We have programs like Strut a Mutt, yet they haven't been utilized for quite a while. The dogs don't get walked for weeks or months. I personally try to make time to walk our dogs whenever I can. Blanket donations was mentioned. Yes, thank you. It's much needed, as well as newspaper. I, in fact, do the laundry as well. It's a lot for one person to maintain. Animal interactions are only allowed to be done with the animal care technicians, not extra help, not volunteers, which can affect adoptions. This is one of the tasks we need extra help staffing for. I'm not trying to divide the cities away from SEAACA. I'm trying to bring them together for the better. The residents need our services, and I know the animals need dedicated staff like myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Speaker number 15. Good evening, Ms. Farina.
Hello. Something caught my attention when I was looking at a neighborhood app a couple nights ago. Someone posted, "How do I stop cats from using my lawn as a bathroom?" The response is, "If you can find out, please let me know." And they say a couple things, and then they say, "I don't want to poison them because it's not their fault, but I don't want them here." So I and several people around our town, we take it upon ourselves to use our own money, our own funds, to do what's called TNR, that's called Trap, Neuter, Release. And we need help. We need a marketing campaign, a PR campaign from the city of Downey to promote spay and neuter. And if we're gonna promote spay and neuter, we need to offer spay and neuter at low cost. Otherwise, people aren't going to do it. We need people to take responsibility for their own block, for their own neighborhood. It's too much on our shoulders. We are exhausted, and we face finding tragic event after tragic event of the cats that we find. I wanted to listen on SEAACA's presentation today to see what they had to say. You know, I've been coming here for weeks and months, and I've heard from the staff, and I definitely feel like we should believe them and what they're telling us. The presentation presented like everything's all good and things are under control, but you know, SEAACA cannot control our animal problems. It's too much, especially when they have so many cities to service. We need all hands on deck. We need everybody in the city involved in this. I have a lot of suggestions on what we could do, but definitely giving the staff, first of all, the compensation they deserve, first of all, and also we need to help relieve the need for how many pets out there are not spayed and neutered. It's causing all sorts of other problems with our city. There's a rise in coyote population because they have a lot of food out there that they can get, and then they just repopulate too. So yeah, for all of our sakes, we need to work together and do something about this. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Farina. I believe that's the last speaker. Anyone else? All right, is there a motion and a second to close public comment? Motion?
Second.
Second. Thank you. So ordered by the mayor. We move on to consent calendar items. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from any item? I will begin. I have a conflict with number 11 because of properties I own near this location, so I will be abstaining from that one because of my conflict. Anyone else? Does anyone wish to pull any of the items in the consent calendar, items 2 through 11?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Well, please vote.
Say
Sorry.
Aye.
Just kind of threw me off there. Okay.
The consent calendar is approved with Mayor Trujillo abstaining from item number 11.
There are 3 administrative reports this evening. Number 12, fiscal year 24-25, first quarter progress report on the Downey Forward 2030 strategic plan. Under the preview of the administration, that the City Council receive and file the Downey Forward 2030 strategic plan, first quarter progress report for fiscal year 24-25. City Manager Bradley, is there a report for item number 12?
Yes, Mayor, we have Marlon Ramirez, Assistant to the City Manager, who will provide the report.
Thank you. Mr. Ramirez, when you're ready, please proceed.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight I will be presenting the fiscal year 24-25 first quarter progress report for the Downey Forward 2030 strategic plan. By way of background, the process began in January 2024 when the city engaged with MIG Inc. to develop the city's first comprehensive citywide strategic plan. From January to May, MIG conducted interviews with city council members, held workshops with department leaders, and led a collaborative strategic planning session with council. City staff implemented an extensive public outreach campaign to engage residents, community leaders, and businesses, generating over 688 responses through community surveys. These insights directly shaped the strategic plan. And on June 25th, 2024, the City Council officially adopted the strategic plan. Here is the strategic plan framework. This is a slide that you're probably familiar with. You've seen throughout the strategic plan process. The community vision and values was informed through the various meetings, workshops, and the public engagement. The mission statement is the city's mission statement and was formally adopted into the strategic plan. The area I want to focus on is the and how the plan is organized via the 5 main goal and council priority areas, which shape the plan's overall direction. Each goal area is supported by 16 strategic priorities, and under these strategic priorities, we have 101 specific actions. Each action is categorized as either short-term, 1 year, medium-term, 2 to 3 years, or long-term, 3 to 5 years. This next slide, we have the key metrics that have been established to measure progress effectively with quarterly tracking in place. This information can be found under Attachment A. The first quarter updates cover July 1st through September 30th, 2024, and categorizes each action based on status and completion level. At the top left, we have the strategic plan actions by status. The actions are categorized as not started, underway, or completed. Of the 101 actions, 65 are underway, with 36 actions not started, and no actions are complete as of yet. Focusing on the top right chart, we have a completion percentage by council priority. And as you can see, progress is visible across all 5 council priorities, indicating measurable advancement, with fiscal responsibility at 13.3%, economic vibrancy at 13.9%, efficiency and adaptability at 20.7%, quality of life and infrastructure at 19.5%, and public engagement at 8.6%. On the bottom left, we have completion by action timeline, and these actions are tracked as short-term, medium-term, and long-term to help prioritize and assess the pace of completion. 1-year actions are at 22.6% completion, 2 to 3 year actions are at 12.9% completion, and 3 to 5 year goals are at 12.6% completion. Just now focusing on the chart on the bottom right, we have the overall completion percentage as of the end of September. The overall completion rate for the strategic plan stands at 17.1%. And this reflects a cumulative progress across all the goal areas, which will continue to increase as actions advance, ultimately reaching 100% when all actions are completed. This next slide provides a snapshot of the strategic plan status report showing each of the 101 strategic actions. The full version is also available under Attachment A. Each action is categorized by its timeline, status, and percentage completion. This quarter, the detailed completion percentages give us an understanding of how each action is progressing within its respective priority. As we continue to make progress, future updates will include additional details on key projects, including those projects that have accomplished major milestones. Excuse me. To enhance transparency and encourage public engagement, a strategic plan brochure has been created and will be available at city facilities. The brochure is referenced as Attachment B, and provides a concise overview and includes a QR code linking to the strategic plan webpage where you can access the full plan. Additionally, the quarterly progress update has been posted on the strategic plan webpage, allowing residents to be involved and follow the progress. This concludes my presentation. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do any council members have any questions or comments for Mr. Ramirez?
I have just have a comment. Thank you, Marlon, for this presentation. I am particularly delighted to see the engagement process and how we are putting this 2030 Downey Forward strategic plan in our social media platforms. I think this is, again, key to eliciting community input and community engagement. And I'm also very happy to see that the QR code so that community residents can track the progress and be aware and be in the know. I would like to recommend that we do a heavy campaign so that we don't just post it, every so often, but that we really get, because there's, how many impressions does it take for an individual to notice something? It's typically 7. Very good. He knows. So at least 7. And they have to be timed, and they have to be, again, our community is busy, our community is changing, and engaging community is critical to Downey's future. So thank you. This was really good. I think as I look at the lists and see what is underway is really encouraging. Certainly there's several areas that have not yet started, but I think the progress made and the fact that as a council, we came together in January to really focus on what our priorities are for the next several years really sets the foundation for what Downey is going to look like in 10 years. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions,
I
comments?
just want to thank, too, going out with the community outreach, even in the ARC walk with the rain, you had a booth there, you had Post-its. Getting the community's involvement is really crucial. Social media, of course, is the next one, and I've seen a lot of action in there, and the footprint that we have reaching out is well received. Thank you.
If I can add, it not pertaining to this, but 2 of my colleagues just mentioned something about community outreach and social media. Out of curiosity, who is currently, is just Axel part of our social media team?
He's one of our primary public information specialists. Yes, that's correct.
And that's the only person? Because I just want to make sure that I do agree that we need to have community outreach. I just don't want to get lost with so much because, for example, we had a Spend Local campaign for our community, and I did a video. I don't know if my colleagues one video, and I just want to make sure that we are giving a lot of. I want to continue doing community outreach and making sure our community knows what's going on and continue doing this. I just think we need to focus a little bit more and making sure that it's not a lot for him, or maybe we can see what we can do to help.
As you can see, a lot of assignments to work on, and we'll do our best to continue to push things forward. Out of our office, the city manager's office, we coordinate all our public information efforts. Axel is our point person. We're very pleased with the work that he does. He's great. But yeah, I hear you, and we want to continue to put focus on that. We'll do our best to continue to push forward.
Just if he hears that, just let him know he's doing great. Okay? I don't want tomorrow to tell him.
Anyone else? Mayor Pro Tem Sosa? Robertson? Okay. Seeing no further questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion and a second to receive and file the report. Motion.
I move to receive and file.
Second.
I'll second.
Please vote.
This end for a change here.
Motion is approved
You're
unanimously.
looking at me like, okay.
All right, so moving on to item 13, this would be my last item, and then I'll be turning it over to our Mayor Pro Tem to handle item 14. So let's do 13, resolution of intention to transition to either a 5-district election system or a 4-district election system with an at-large elected mayor. This is under the purview of the city clerk and the city attorney, that the city council consider whether to adopt a resolution declaring the city's intent to transition from the current election system consisting of 4 individual districts and 1 at-large district to an election system consisting of either 5 individual districts or 4 districts plus an at-large mayoral district in furtherance of the California Voting Rights Act. City Manager Bradley, I understand that our Attorney John Funk will be providing the presentation. Is that correct?
Yes, Mayor, thank you.
All right, please proceed, City Attorney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, the item before you is a discussion regarding a potential change to our election system. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge the significant contributions to this item from our City Clerk's office and from our City Manager's office as well. Our current election system, just some background on it briefly. We elect, as you may know, our council through what I will call a mixed election system, combining 4 individual districts and 1 at-large district. Those districts are all specifically defined in the city charter. Districts 1 through 4 specifically, council members must live in that district and are elected only by voters in that district. District 5 is what is known as an at-large district, comprised of the entire city, where the council member can reside anywhere in the district, or anywhere in the city, forgive me, and is elected from voters citywide. As for the mayor and the mayor pro tem, they are not directly elected, but instead selected by and among the council on an annual basis. Again, that's pursuant to the city charter. At-large voting districts in the California Voting Rights Act. A bit of background on this law, as it is really the basis for our discussion tonight. The CVRA became law in 2003, and it's intended to prevent disenfranchisement of protected classes, meaning voters who are members of a race, color, or language minority group. An at-large method under the CVRA cannot be used if it impairs the ability of a protected class to elect candidates of its choice or its ability to influence the outcome of an election. To establish a violation of the California Voting Rights Act, it's necessary only to show that racially polarized voting and vote dilution have occurred as a result of an at-large voting system. I'll be careful to note, or I should say specific to note, the CVRA does not prohibit the use of at-large districts, but makes them more susceptible to challenge because the standards of proof to show a violation are quite low. The CVRA is a very plaintiff-friendly statute. Successful plaintiffs are also entitled to attorney's fees as well. That also fuels the propagation of these types of lawsuits up and down the state. You may be aware that Downey is certainly not alone in receiving this most recent challenge. Cities up and down the state have received challenges to their election systems, as you heard even public speakers say tonight, very similar to a demand letter that we received. And as for that letter, on October 3rd, 2024, on behalf of a potential plaintiff, we got a letter from the law firm of SEAACA Law alleging that our election system violated the CVRA because it contained an at-large element. The lawyer, Mr. SEAACA, demanded that the city voluntarily transition to a complete by-district system in compliance with the CVRA and threatened litigation in the absence of such a transition. Public agents throughout California, again, have faced CVRA lawsuits in recent years, each beginning with these types of letters. Significantly, no agency to date has successfully defended a CVRA litigation. The only city, to my knowledge, that has mounted any type of defense against a CVRA lawsuit is the city of Santa Monica. They, to date, have spent over $20 million in attorney's fees. The matter has gone up to appeal to the California Supreme Court and sent back down. It's ongoing, and the outcome is still not certain. There are a couple different options, or response options, I should say, to a demand letter like this alleging a violation of the CVRA. Option number 1 involves a resolution of intention to transition. A resolution of this type was included in your agenda memo tonight as an exhibit. This type of resolution declares the council's intent to transition from the current election system to a different one. What type of different one? There are 2 options there. One is a 5-district election system that would change District 5 from its current citywide geography into a discrete portion of the city like Districts 1 through 4. The other option is what I'll call a 4+1. In that option, Districts 1 through 4 would be retained with their current geography, but District 5 would be converted into an at-large mayoral district. So in short, there is a 5-district option, what I'll call, and a 4+1 option. This procedure, if the council elects to do so, is commenced by adopting the resolution, and that concludes with an ordinance implementing the change. So what is the effect of a resolution if adopted tonight? There is a 45-day period that begins to run as soon as the city receives a letter like this. During those 45 days, a litigant cannot sue the city for a CVRA violation. The 45th day today, or I should say for this action, is going to be on November 18th, 2024. Some of the benefits of adopting a resolution are that they cap attorney's fees at $36,000. The resolution declares only the intent of the city to transition to either a 5-district system or a 4+1 system. That specific choice is not being made tonight. If this resolution is adopted, the only decision that is being made tonight is the intent to transition to one of those 2 different systems from our current one. A switch to 5 districts could take place as early as the 2026 election, whereas a 4+1 system could not be implemented until the 2028 election. The main reason for this is that the law is very clear. The no term of any current council member could be abbreviated, impacted, shortened, or otherwise affected by any change the council should elect to make. If the resolution is adopted, following that, there'll be a series of 4 public hearings that will need to be held, just as is done following the regular redrawing of the districts after the decennial census. Again, the decision for either a 5-district system or a 4+1 will be made in the context of these public hearings, specifically the first 2. If a 5-district option is selected, a demographer will be necessary to prepare new maps for consideration. But with the 4+1 option, no maps or a demographer would be necessary because the at-large mayor would be elected from the current District 5. Some charter cleanup amendments could be necessary, however. After those hearings, an ordinance is then approved implementing either option. And the CVRA significantly allows cities to make this type of change by ordinance without putting it before the voters. Otherwise, something like this would need a charter amendment. The second response would be to take no action. That is to not adopt the resolution of intention. In that event, the potential plaintiff identified by Mr. SEAACA could file a lawsuit against the city, formally alleging a violation of the CVRA. If that lawsuit is filed, the city would bear its own costs and face significant financial exposure along the lines of those cities described in the agenda memo. Just by way of example, cities have settled these cases anywhere from $1 million and up. Again, Santa Monica spent over $22 million in attorney's fees. But those statistics are in your agenda memo, but I'm happy to elaborate if you'd like. So with that being said, the discussion tonight before you is whether to adopt the resolution of intention to transition to either a 5-district election system or a 4+1 with an at-large mayor. Certainly happy to answer any questions or field any concerns you may have from the agenda memo. We endeavored to provide a very content-rich agenda memo for you so that all the details would be there, but I'm happy to elaborate on any concerns or questions that you might have.
Thank you. Your staff report was indeed very thorough. Any questions or comments for our city attorney regarding item 13?
Yes, thank you, John. I do have a couple of questions. So I just want to clarify, if we decide to adopt a resolution for transition, and let's say we go with the 5-district route, does it have to happen in 2026? Can we make this, if we went that route, look at 2028?
Yes, we can,
Right.
Mayor Pro Tem. It can happen as early as 2026. That council could elect to implement that reform in 2028. However, that is somewhat contingent on the potential plaintiff's counsel here as to whether they would be amenable to that. I would like to think that they would be. I can tell you that I've spoken to that counsel about this matter, just only to confirm the receipt of it, to acknowledge his letter. And he has indicated to me that his client, the potential plaintiff that is fairly flexible in the route the city would choose. I did indicate to him that it would be the purview of the council that would be, foremost. But to answer your question, yes, that is possible.
So, and if we decide not to adopt a resolution for transition, and Mr. SEAACA does file a lawsuit, we're on the hook for up to $36,000 plus?
The $36,000 is capped if the resolution is approved. In that event, litigation is stayed, litigation is barred if the resolution is adopted tonight by the 45th day. And the cap would be $36,000, up to that $36,000, that is. In the event that we were to make the transition by adopting the resolution tonight, or signal our intent to make the transition, Mr. SEAACA would certainly have to substantiate whatever fees he would seek from the city with a documentation and evidence. But they would be capped at $36,000.
Understood. Thank you.
I have, again, based on what you just indicated in the report you provided, John, by the way, thank you very much, it's very thorough. Again, we are looking at other agencies have faced these CVRA lawsuits, and you mentioned Santa Monica being one of them. We know that other cities have, again, tried to fight this with no success and have ended up settling from $1 million up to several millions. And I'm not interested in spending taxpayer dollars trying to defend something that is not defensible. I believe a resolution to transition would be in the best interest of our city.
I concur with Councilwoman Fermetta, and I'm just curious, since we had already started discussions about this before we received this letter, hopefully that attorney will consider that in negotiations, because the $36,000 is a cap. Hopefully we could come in lower than that, especially showing that we had already taken some initiative before we received the letter. That's my comment.
And because we did start an ad hoc committee to discuss charter reform, do we still have to pay the $36,000?
So the answer to that question is, had we adopted a resolution of intent to transition before this letter arrived, no, we wouldn't have to. But that cap is in effect because we hadn't yet adopted a resolution or otherwise formally signaled our intent to transition before the letter came. Okay. But if we had done so before the letter, then yes, we would have avoided all or most of that.
Okay.
But I will recognize that the council has entertained this subject before from the dais in the last several months as well. So.
And just to clarify, we're not automatically paying if we, choose to adopt this resolution for a transition. We're not automatically paying $36,000. That's just the cap.
It's a cap. Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's the cap, and I would just underscore as well that it is subject to proof. There needs to be documentary evidence, as to just, how much work the lawyer put into here, what would be preparing the letter, what I'll call a notice of alleged violation. And so it would largely be the work that went into that. But again, that does have to be substantiated as well. So thank you for making that point, Mayor Pro Tem. It is up to that amount and subject to proof as well.
Right.
I too want to thank you for a real detailed report. That's why many of us don't have a lot of questions. But to just also echo with Councilwoman Fermetta and Mayor Trujillo, in that report it says, to date, no agency has successfully defended a CRVA lawsuit. So for us to perhaps not even succeed because no one has before and expend an extreme amount of money on that, I don't think it's prudent for us, in a sense, to experiment, and move that direction. And it might be best that, as we've talked before, look at the districting, look at that option. So that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, that is I will say that is a daunting statement to make about litigation. I mean, I don't think that I've ever been really able to write such a sentence that, no city has ever defended the type of litigation that we might be facing. This is rather unique. It's a very plaintiff-friendly statute. It took effect in 2003. It's been refined over the years to make it even more plaintiff-friendly. So it is, it's somewhat unusual of a statistic to say that there's no jurisdiction that has successfully defended itself against a statute. And I think really, candidly, that's the way the law was written, in part, to make it very difficult when faced with allegations like this. Again, with the overall goal and objective of avoiding disenfranchisement of protected class voters. I think that if I may say that the objective with the legislation was noble, but its effect or its application, practically speaking, has been very hard for cities.
I motion to approve a resolution of intention of transition.
I second that.
Very well. We have a motion and a second. Any questions regarding the motion? Comments, discussion before I proceed to a vote? Okay, so I will now ask for a vote regarding the motion and the second. And the motion is to indeed adopt a resolution of intention to transition to one of the two options that we will consider at a later time. Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. I will now turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem Sosa. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll go into approval of amendment number 1 to professional services agreement with RMI International Incorporated for additional patrol of city parks. To the City Council, 1, approve amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with RMI International Incorporated in the amount of $268,596 for a 12-month term for additional patrol of city parks. And number 2, authorize the city manager or his designee to execute any and all amendments to the agreement as deemed necessary. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report for item number 14?
Yes, we have Jason Chacon here to present on this item.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. I always happen to be the last one of the night on these night things. I think it's on purpose. I know. Tonight I'm presenting for the council's consideration to approve an amendment to the professional services agreement with RMI International for security patrols of city parks and recreation facilities during after-hour and non-staff time periods. At the May 28th City Council meeting, a 2-year professional service agreement was approved with RMI after community development staff completed a request for proposal process. The current scope of that agreement includes patrols of downtown Downey and the downtown parking structure, as well as patrols of the Rio Hondo Golf Club parking lots, the Transit Depot Station, skate park at Independence Park, and as-needed security for the Downey Theater and other parks and recreation special events. The amendment before you today to the agreement would add dedicated after-hour security patrols to our city parks and recreation facilities to help deter crime and activity by providing a visible presence, employing active observation skills, and working proactively with the Downey Police Department for any violations. As of late, city parks have seen a rise in after-hour activities and have experienced some recent burglaries and thefts of city golf carts, bronze placards, and various department supplies that have been stolen from various facilities. This amendment before you would cover a 12-month period at the cost of approximately $269,000. The recommended patrols would be as follows: 2 unarmed guards in 2 patrol cars that would break up the city into a north and south route that would be 7 days a week from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. These hours were chosen because they represent the times that parks and recreation facilities are not staffed. The guards would stop at the park sites and actually get out and do foot patrols of various park hotspots for after-hour activities and communicate directly with Downey Police Department with any violations or any as-needed assistance. Another patrol would be one unarmed guard and a patrol car Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. This route would also cover city parks that do not have scheduled morning staff or parks that are non-staffed altogether. And finally, it would be one unarmed guard and a patrol car on Saturdays and Sundays from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. This route would also cover city parks that do not have scheduled morning staff and are not staffed regularly. Other local municipalities such as Paramount, Santa Fe Springs, Pico Rivera, and Norwalk have taken similar action and approaches as of late and have experienced some levels of success. It's important to note that these added security services are only an enhancement to public safety and not meant to reduce any of our current police services. The Downey Police Department will continue to be visible and proactive in their patrols of city parks and work with other city departments and RMI to add a multi-level approach to provide the highest levels of security and proactiveness in the community. I will work with the chief as well as staff to make sure that we cover any gaps and communicate should there be any issues. The routes could also change throughout the course of the time, depending on the different hotspots and activities that we currently see at our city parks. We do have cameras currently up at Apollo Park, Furman Park, and we are getting ready for Golden Park. And our budget currently this year will include one more. It was supposed to be Rio San Gabriel, but with the current construction being limited, delayed, it'll be a little bit time for us. But these cameras have allowed us to see kind of what's happening after hours in certain hotspots that are hard to see from certain areas. So we will dedicate these patrols to those certain areas to get that activity out of the park, but also just be a visible presence, flashing lights, driving through, being able to stay at a certain park site for a certain amount of time. We do have a number of our 13 parks that are pocket parks that don't have any staff. Some of them are harder to see from the street. And then some of our current parks, they do have staff. Throughout the year, the staff schedule changes. For the most part, our staff leave at 8 o'clock and the parks close at 10 p.m. So with all the different things going on in the city and different park sites, this will help after hours and non-staff sites with some of that activity. So that concludes my report, and I can answer questions that the council might have.
I love this idea. I really do. I know we've had a lot of challenges, you know, our police staff is thin, park rangers, some people don't want to address issues in the park, and this visibility will help make us feel safe. This is what residents are looking at. Might help relieve some of the patrols that we're doing right now with our officers. But track tick, huh? It sounds like it's really good. You have a grid pattern set up. It's going to be real time, and that guard checkpoints so that they just, you know, have to be accountable as well. That's what people want to see. So was there anything in particular that made you say we really need this now over the past few years?
I think we've been working on it. The city manager asked us to take a look at some different options that we had out there, but just of recent, we've had 3 golf carts stolen over the last 3 months in some of our facilities, and we've had a number of our bronze dedicated plaques be stolen over the last couple of years. So I think those, along with talking to some of my colleagues in other cities and seeing some of the success that they've had, kind of led us to this point.
If I could also add to that, so with the recent ruling with the grants pass decision at the Supreme Court, that also enabled us to look at a multiple faceted approach. So if you remember, we brought in CityNet, then we brought in amendments to the city ordinance, and this is like a third facet, if you will, to address some of the concerns that we've been seeing in the community.
Great.
That was good. I'm glad we're adding another layer of protection to keep our community safe. I remember I spoke to Roger in regards to this. I think this is going to really help us out to be very proactive in keeping our parks safe. I know a resident earlier mentioned something about with this Measure D pass and all this other stuff. I mean, I wish we can hire police officers today, but it takes time. That's a process, and I want to make sure I can do whatever I can to keep our parks safe, our Downey Theater and various places where this is going to, help us patrol more and be more active. So I'm excited to move this forward.
Thank you, and I do have a comment. Thank you, Jason, for this. Again, all 13 city parks. This includes Treasure Island Park, because I know there's a lot of things that go on at Treasure Island. We want to make sure we get additional eyes over there. But since we went with this contract and added an additional layer of security to the parking structure in downtown. has there been a reduction in activity there? And did we assess that? Do we need to add more security officers there as well?
I would say we're really early in that contract still. That only began in July, and we've had consistent communication with them as we've wanted to maybe change some of the areas that they're seeing, or they've also reported to us some areas that they've had, especially in the top of the parking garage area, that we've been able to communicate with PD and come up with some solutions to that. So I think it's definitely open dialogue with them right now, and I think soon we'll probably be revisiting some of those statistics and seeing what it looks like.
I had one more question. This is going to be for a 12-month period. What would warrant the next renewal for another 12 months? What's your benchmarks to see, yes, this is working, a reduction? Do you have some type of a plan, analytical plan to say, yes, let's keep it, or no, let's not keep it?
I think we're working on that currently still to see exactly how many incident reports that we're getting and how many connections we get, whether it be with CityNet or PD, to make sure it's something that is effective. If we aren't getting a lot of incident reports or we're not seeing a lot of activity, that's why we kept it to a 12-month period. The current contract is a 2-year period of the overall contract for downtown Downey. So we've tried to keep it within that window. And when it comes up for renewal in that second year, that's something we can visit and see exactly how many interactions they're having, how many reports that we're getting, and is it really hitting the places that we want it to hit.
Was there a 6-month option on this, or just 12 months is the shortest?
To get mobilized and the amount of vehicles and officers that they need to hire in order to get 6 months really wouldn't be an option. 12 month was the minimum that they wanted to go.
Okay, thank you.
And the contract for downtown will be renewed. And
we just started it in July, and it's a 2-year contract.
2 years, okay.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
A third. Oh, sorry.
Well, I just had one question. So I know it's just a few months. So since July, the incident reports and the responses have been satisfactory?
Yes, staff has been working, both community development and ourselves along with PD. We've been working with them and communicating on some different incidents that have happened, just to make sure that we get reports in timely manner, that we have them in the right spots. So they're definitely open dialogue with them, and we continue to work through some of the challenges that change for us. All of those challenges continue to be moving a little bit. So we want to make sure that they're open to that and changing some of the things we might do in the future. But so far the dialogue has been open.
Great, thank you, Jason. I will now entertain a motion and a second to approve recommended actions 1 and 2. Please vote. Thank you.
The motion is approved with Mayor Trujillo absent from the meeting.
The time is now 9:43. City Council meeting is now adjourned.